Wind went away.
Hmm.
The wind is gone. So it's actually pretty hot. I mean, I think we got up to a UV index of like 13 today.
Oh, wow.
So it's hot.
Wow.
But the wind, I'm looking, I was going to sit in the back. I should have sat in the back because I see the wind chimes back there blowing. So I made a mistake. Coming up here. Oh, well.
Hello. Well, we all make mistakes, Jack.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure I did.
Okay, so we're going to get started here. I've already pressed record, so I'll make my announcements at the very beginning. Welcome to the February 2025 Quantum Biologic Powwow. Optimal Club's members only. This
Man,
is Gold and Platinum. We welcome anybody new joining. I will go over the rules really quick. We ask that you stay unmuted unless I specifically ask you to unmute. That gives respect to the other callers. We have received, as you know, you guys registered. When you registered, you requested either to just attend, or you wanted to speak live with Dr. Cruz with questions, or you had questions that you wanted to ask during the Q&A for you. These are reviewed by Dr. Cruz and the team prior to getting on the call, and they are approved or they are unapproved. If they were not approved, you have received an email from the team which lets you know why they were not approved. So you may want to check your email now to know whether or not you are going to be getting on the call live. And then everybody else is in the order that we receive actually as you register. If you are calling across the ocean from us and it's nighttime for you, early morning, please let me know in the chat if you had submitted to speak live so that we can get you earlier on the call so you can go to bed. Okay, we like to respect that. And then again, just stay muted if you have questions. I'm Team Cruz Optimal Clubs. You can send me private messages while we're on the call, and I will answer them as I can. I'm producing the call and managing at the same time, so just be patient if it takes me a minute to get back to you, but I am watching the chat, and I'll do my best. And with that, I know Dr. Cruz has some things that he wants to talk about, so I'm going to turn it over to him.
Yeah. So when I looked at the calls today, this was an unusual month. There was at least 10 people, and I'm not kidding you when I say this, that your stuff was consult material. So I want to say something specific to probably one of the people. I'm not going to mention names, obviously, but they'll know who I'm talking about. If you have an issue that is tied to a disease, for whether it's for you, your mother, your father, your grandmother, or whoever, please use the search button. Okay. There's, for example, one of the questions we had was about a very specific neurologic disease. There's 4 blogs. There's stuff on the form. Read all that. Then if you have questions, put it on the form. Okay. If you can't put it on the form, then it's probably not smart to be talking about it in here. And if it's that detailed and you don't have the answer, you need to do a consult. It's as simple as that. The consults, for most people, my strong recommendation, Christy will tell you this happened this morning. We had a person do a consult for an hour. I shortened the consult to 30 minutes because I knew exactly what the issue was and I refunded half their money. So if I think I can solve your issue really quick, I will end the call fast and offer to return your money. If I tell you that you're absolutely crazy and ridiculous and send me 30 pages of shit to read before I'm going to talk to you for a half-hour consult, I got some bad news for you. You're going to pay for an hour consult. Okay. So be very, very succinct in how you want to do this, because remember, the 2 problems I just showed you, I had this week. Somebody sent me 30 pages of shit to read, most of which were superfluous. And then somebody else had what they thought was a pretty complex problem. It was, but it turns out the people that they had seen all over the country made some big mistakes. So I told them exactly how to cut to the chase. Consults should be no different than they are when you go see the doctor. Start at the beginning, go there. I'm going to tell you, if you've never done a consult with me, your labs are fucking superfluous. Forget your labs. Most of the time, they're not important. In fact, most of you, if you did a good job in your optical journal, I'll tell you that that most of you don't need labs. If I tell you you do need labs, it's likely going to be tied to the redox issue where you're at. I don't think you guys do a good job of using the optimal journals and asking questions on the forum. Second big issue that you're going to find here today, there's a couple of questions that people have asked that I'm actually letting through. Why? Because I'm going to prove to you that the search button really works on the form. Okay. So if I've talked about it before, I'm going to say use the search button on the form because the answer is there. The reason I'm being a little bit of a hard ass about this, believe it or not, it's not me. Doesn't bother me, but I've had so many complaints this month. I'm so sick and tired of listening to 4 and 5 hour Q&As because I don't want to hear, Aunt Mary's bullshit about her hemorrhoids or whatever, the issue is. And to be honest with you, I've been kind of open about letting everybody talk about whatever they want, but I'm getting a lot of pushback, especially from the new members, that they even want me to have, what do you call it? Like the things you have on YouTube that, oh, here we're talking about this, and then put a break. Here we're talking about this, because they feel like they're wasting their time for 5 or 6 hours. So be succinct. If you ask, here's the other thing. If you ask more than 3 questions, you need a consult. Got it? You should be really, really precise with what you want to know, because we have so many people here. If the question is good and there's like 6 parts, I'm probably going to let it through. Probably shouldn't admit that, but I probably will. There's a couple of calls like that, today, but we'll just see how it goes. But this time, the reason I'm bringing it up, there was a lot of people who got rejected because they basically need consults. And last thing, when you send a question into Christy, tell me what the thing was today. They sent something in that said 2 words. Oh yeah, I want to talk about Parkinson's disease, and that's your question. Guess what? You need to do a consult. Simple as that. If you do that, I'm out. Not only that, considering that there's a huge thread. Well, I think we let that one through. I'm not going to go there, but
it's not a question.
But if you put something in that's a general topic and now question, from this point forward, you are going to be rejected. Some of you are really good about doing stuff like that. I've seen repeat offenders and I've let everybody through. Today it stops. Okay. So with that, go.
Get started. Okay. Let's see. I haven't checked. Let me get my questions up here. First person on the list is Jeannie. I believe I saw you in the list. Yeah, Jeannie, can you unmute your line?
She's already asleep.
Oh, there she is.
I am not asleep, Jack. Hey,
Hello.
Jack, my question is, I'll get to the point. I read your blog, this latest one. I've got to read it probably 10 more times because they're so in depth. But my question is, the things that you found when you were in the Amazon, the things that you are trying to work on to help these people with the jab, do you see any benefit? I didn't get the jab. Do you see any benefit in any of those things for people who had the jab but don't have symptoms yet or don't have cancer yet?
I think I made that pretty clear in the blog. Look, I'm going to make it clear now because you're not the only one that asked this question this month. If you took the jab, you use ivermectin as the prophylactic. You don't have to use all the other drugs. If you're symptomatic, that's when you need to sit down with your doctor where the symptoms are. Like, for example, say if it's cancer, should I use this? Like, I'll use one of our members. She actually did it the right way, so I want to applaud her. She's a lady I've done consults with before. She has a specific type of cancer. She's actually treating it the right way. She used the DMs on the conversation list on the forum to ask me the question that you're asking me right now. For her, the answer is going to be different than it is for you, Jeannie. So to cut to the chase, if you're having sex with somebody who took the jab, you probably also want to think about ivermectin. How's that?
I'm not.
But I'm just saying. So what am
Okay.
I trying to tell you? The blog was very clear. Ivermectin is probably the prophylactic medication to use. Whether you add any of the other ones that are talked about in there, should be talked with your personal physician who's treating you for that condition. Okay. If
Okay.
you want to ask Dr. Cruz, book a consult.
Okay. Second question. Do, if you don't have either of those things, you're not sleeping with somebody, you don't have cancer, you didn't take the jab, but you may have experienced shedding, would you,
That's
same
prophylaxis.
thing? Okay,
That's the whole thing.
okay, okay.
Like if you're around, if you know everybody around you shedding, it's something to consider. Me and Chantal have talked about it. I'm not taking ivermectin. I will tell you that Chantal has taken some ivermectin. Not so much for people with shedding, but she spends more of her time around people that she probably shouldn't than I do. I'm pretty, I'm a Nazi about who I'll spend time with. If I don't know them, I don't want to be around them.
Yeah, got it. All right, last thing. I'm in Florida, Panama, in between Panama City and 30A,
Uh-huh.
which I moved there, but really because of you, when I found you.
I remember you left Nashville. I remember.
I love Nashville. I've been here for 7 years. Loved it. I love it here. But honestly, God, Jack, they're spraying the shit out of Florida right now.
Oh, I know they are. And they're not going to stop, just so you know that.
I don't think they are.
No, I
Is
don't
that
think they are either.
is that going on in El Salvador at all?
Well, people are saying they are, and I keep looking up in the skies and I don't see it. And I will tell you that I've become aware that there's a lot of people right now on Twitter specifically that are trying to talk shit about Bukele, and they're the opposition party. And I've been last 2 weeks since I've been home. It's actually not even 2 weeks, maybe 10 days. I have seen no evidence of geoengineering uh, at all. Do I know what the president's policy is about that? Yeah. Do I know? I mean, Stacey and Max were just here. We were actually talking about this very issue. So no, I don't believe it's going on here. But do I believe in the future that it could visit here? Do something for you to take in your memory banks? You may not know this, but I'm okay saying it. Jessica Allen, who also left Nashville, she's actually here in El Salvador. She's been going back and forth to the States. Um, I'm really close, Jeannie, to telling you something you don't want to hear. I don't know if Florida is good enough anymore. I used to think that the Panhandle was okay, but I'm starting this year because I've had more people send me pictures of the skies over Pensacola, Panama City, Apalachicola, and down into the peninsula. I got to be honest with you. I think they're geoengineering the fuck out of Florida.
Yes. Amen. I got pictures out the ass because every day I walk out there, it's supposed to be a bright sunny day. I can get plenty of sun most of the time in February. It's dark and gloomy almost every day now. If there's a sunny day, they start spraying and they're doing swirls and shit. It's almost like they want us to see it.
Well,
So
I
anyway,
just think that that's something like if it comes to the point where you know that it's impacting how much sun you get, you're gonna have to make the tough decision. What do I want to do? And unfortunately, nobody wants to hear it. But I actually think some of the diseases that our members have, they can't tolerate even that level of bullshit. And if you're jabbed, let me just say, because even though you said you're not, because there's going to be a lot of other people behind you because you asked this question first. Yeah, I don't think that Florida is a good enough place for you anymore because of the shit that's going on.
that's what my gut's telling me. So that's what I wanted to ask you about El Salvador because um, it's happening all around the globe. I mean, people, you know,
I don't know if I buy that either. I just spent 2 months in South America. I didn't see a lot of evidence of geoengineering there at all. But remember, it's a totally different continent. These people don't have as much money in the United States. I think Mexico clearly has geoengineering, but part of that is because of the United States. And do I think that the United States potentially could start some of their bullshit in Central America once the focus is off of enslaving their own population, where they go back and start using the Madison Doctrine again, like they've done for 250 years. Down here right now, the reason why Central America is so good is because the focus of the intelligence agencies are no longer on Central America. They're actually on Canada and Mexico, but I think everywhere else we're pretty good.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Gene
Well, I-
Commons asked this question. Gene, please be smart. What's the prophylactic dose? Do I know how much you fucking weigh in kilograms? Come on, guy. Go get on a scale, talk to your doctor, and figure it out. You can look that up on the internet. I mean, I'm not a mind reader. The dose is present everywhere on the internet in milligrams per kilogram. So I don't know how much you weigh. So you can figure it out. And not only that, if you can figure it out, if you're that, retarded, because that's what this question is. See, I told you I was going to get pissed off. Jeannie made me happy, and now I'm fucking pissed. But you go to the pharmacist. You can go to fucking Sam's or Costco and have a little consultation in the booth. And you know what they'll tell you? They say, okay, jump on the scale. We'll tell you what the dose is. Most people with prophylactic dose of ivermectin, 6 milligrams per day is probably good enough. If you took the jab, it's probably going to be a different dose. If you're really skinny or really fat, the dose probably needs to change. But you can find that information by using a simple Google box. And you know what I'd like? I don't like Google. I tell you to use Yandex. That's kind of what I use now. Yeah, you can use FLCC too. But Gene, you're asking the fucking question, then you're giving me the answer. I mean, come on. Oh, that's Lottie. Sorry about that. The answers are out there, guys. I mean, it's time. You guys are supposed to be the smartest guys on the internet. You're fucking part of my tribe. You're goddamn black swans. Take your heads out of your asses and start using your brain in your head. If this came from a new person, I probably wouldn't be so hot. But this is really simple shit. And yeah, it's important. I'm not going to lie to you. I think a lot more people need to consider this. And here's another thing, Jeannie, that there's a follow-up to your question. You don't have the risk. You didn't take the jab. You're not banging somebody with the jab, but in Florida, you may be around a lot of people, especially in Panama City, that took the jab. Getting ivermectin where you are may be a problem. So guess what? You guys can get it in Mexico and Central America. The prices are usually pretty different. I can tell you here in El Salvador, it's over the counter. It's cheap to get. I've told the story, like the ivermectin I have. You guys don't know this. When I did that emergency Q&A in February 2020, I got on a plane flight to Mexico, to Cancun, and came back with 2 suitcases of ivermectin for my farm members. I still have that ivermectin here in El Salvador, just so you know, because we didn't have to use it on anybody, because anybody who came to see me, instead of using the ivermectin, I started using the methylene blue when they came for their farm visits. And that's actually how we treated them. And I told them, anybody who was a farmer, when you get this IV with this appropriate dose, you're not going to have to worry about it, because you're not going to get COVID. And for those
I have it. I have it. I got it from, I don't know, online, my pharmacy online or something, but I haven't taken it because I didn't know if I needed to or.
I think the real answer to your question, because it's a good one. It's a good one to start off with. Do I think that you guys need to make your own medicine bag at home from this point forward? The answer is yes.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good luck.
All right.
Okay, next we have Kelly. Kelly, can you unmute your line, please?
Hey,
Now
Jack.
everybody's gonna be afraid to ask me a question. You shouldn't
Maybe.
be. I'm really enjoying these raspberries. They're really good.
So I got a Bitcoin, semi-related Bitcoin questions. First things first, we own about 1/10 of a whole coin, and we
Hold
have
on.
the funds.
Stop. Never tell anybody how much Bitcoin you own.
Okay, I own X number of Bitcoin or X number of Satoshis, X number of something I own. How's that?
Good.
And we have the funds to add enough to get a whole something or rather.
Yeah.
Now, never, wait. I know, not never. I'm kidding you.
Now's the best time to buy, because it's down below 100. It's a screen
Correct.
buy. Bitcoin
All
right
right.
now is a better buy than MSTR. And I still like MSTR.
Okay. And what is approximately what's a reasonable amount to keep in a like Strike type wallet
Oh yeah.
versus moving it out?
remember Ms. Chantal asked me this. I'm going to tell you, just so you know, everybody's answer to this is going to be different. Now I'm going to tell you
Okay.
what my answer is, but it may vary. Currently, right now, I have about 45 grand on my Strike in Bitcoin.
Okay.
But my answer generally is 25,000 for me. There's a reason why I have a little bit more on it, because I've got a whole bunch of work going on in my house, so I'm paying people. So that's the reason it's there. And when you're actively doing that, obviously that'd be the answer. But your question is, how much should I let sit there before I move it to cold storage? My answer, if you're not a whole coiner yet, I think I'd say 5 grand would be my answer. If you're a whole coiner, I think between probably 10 and 25 grand is reasonable. If you happen to live in a place where Bitcoin is used to do business, then I think it's based on, how you use it to do business. That's the reason why mine's a little bit more than probably your guys would be.
Got it. Thank you very, very much.
Good luck.
Take good care.
See, I love that question. 2 for 2 so far.
There you
Here we
go. Okay. Thank you, Kelly. Anne-Marie, you are next to be on live. Can you go ahead and unmute your line?
Yeah, hi.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry. I'm in El Salvador.
Great.
Yeah. My husband came with me for the first 10 days, and I just got here Friday, so I went to the meetup at India's yesterday, I guess. Feels like I've been here for a long time. I've been here 2 days.
That's
Anyway,
good. Time dilation. I like it.
I'm on the path. So I don't remember what my question was. I apologize.
But you wanna go on hold and remember it, and then we'll bring somebody else on, and then you can come back later.
Honestly, I don't know if I will. I'm a little disoriented from the travel, but just what comes to mind is I think you said 2 to 3 months that would help me be able to see if this is actually going to help my health. Is that correct?
If I told you that once, I'm not going to change it now.
Okay, well, my plan is to be out here for 2 months, and I have done some labs, so I'm going to retest some things that might be concerning.
I wouldn't do any of that. I just told you in the beginning of this Q&A,
Right.
labs are superfluous. You're now in an environment that's good for you. Wait until the end, see how you feel. And then at the end of those 2 months, if you want to do the labs then, it would be way better to do it then and then compare it to the old shit you got. But
Yeah.
do labs in the middle of it, dumb.
I'm sorry, you misunderstood. That's exactly what I was planning to do. It's just
Good.
wait and see after 2 months and then just retest because my insulin is high and some stuff like that. So
Perfect.
yeah, so I'm excited to see how this will pan out for me. And I just wanted to give you a little update on one of the reasons why I was not doing very well in Boulder. And I actually had somehow 5G had gotten turned on in a modem where I had all my Ethernet connected. I had the whole house wired and all of that. And I don't know what happened, like when they put the fiber optic cable in, or maybe the internet went down and we called. But the only way to turn off the 5G was to sign in on the CenturyLink website I had to Google to figure out how to do it and look at this password on the bottom of the modem, and they never told us that. So it's been
they're never gonna tell you that either.
Yeah, so
This is a lesson for everybody. And just so you know, your Boulder story, the next thing that just happened recently, last 3 months, many cities in the United States had their Starlink data turned on from the satellite. So guess what? You think you're in a good area? You better test, because you're probably not, because now it's coming from above.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably is. I've been getting really good at I bought a new meter that does the magnetic and the electric from Safe Living Technologies, and got my building biologist to come back to kind of figure out, because I knew something was wrong. Like I knew something wasn't right. And that's how I figured out the 5G coming from the modem. And so since then, I've been learning how to use the meters better. And I'm pretty close to a cell tower here in Mizada, but I have my meters with me, and I have a silver canopy, and I've got copper to cover the Wi-Fi router. And, I'm figuring it out, like how to, learning the skills and how to hack, so that I can travel and wherever I go, whatever. I put all this stuff in my suitcase. So
That's good.
I slept really good last night under my canopy. But just to let people know, like, even if they, make sure that you understand how to use the meter, because I wasn't understanding it enough to use it correctly. And until I got my building biologist to come back and sort of give me some tutorials and to check it himself, here was this 5G coming in. I mean, it's probably been like 5 years that since initially it was turned off, but I think maybe when they put the fiber optic in or something happened and they turned it on at centrally. I mean, I'm going to check every week from now on, like just make sure that they're not fucking with me. Cause I mean, I actually started to feel better right away after we got the 5G turned off. So that was really cool. So a lot less pain in Boulder even, but I'm still here in El Salvador, and see how much better I feel. So that's the update.
Right.
Maybe that's a good lesson for other people to learn how to use those meters and make sure that your internet company isn't fucking with you.
Gotcha.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
See ya.
Okay. An update. Bye.
Great. Thank you. Okay, next we have on the list, Carrie, can you go ahead and unmute your line, please? Welcome.
Crew.
Hello.
Hi. Just a quick question. I had listened to your podcast with Doug Sandquist, where you talked about how reversing sleep apnea can be done by spending time in a caldera. And I was just wondering if that still applies if your apnea is caused from having a large tongue.
Well, this is kind of a good question because of what happened today in that consult that I told you I cut to a half an hour. So this particular person had an eye problem, very specific eye disease. And it turned out that as part of his condition, he developed sleep apnea. He never was told by some of the best centralized doctors in the world that the sleep apnea was a result of his body trying to protect his eyes from blindness. So his story was when he took a specific antibiotic for another problem, he went blind in one eye. And then when he used a sleep apnea machine, he lost sight in his other eye. So what should that tell you? If you have a mitochondrial disease with high heteroplasmy, the answer is don't fucking use a sleep apnea machine, which I've told you guys multiple times. Now, to your point, a large tongue doesn't cause sleep apnea. That is the bullshit that all the dentists tell you. That's likely not true. Okay. So if that's their story, the answer is no. More than likely, the reason for the sleep apnea is what I told you back in those old blogs, especially I think it's 47 and 48, quantum engineering, that people generally develop sleep apnea that seemingly comes out of the mist because you're trying to protect your colony of mitochondria. The most likely reason is you live in a shithole. Okay? It's not your large tongue. It's the shithole called Chernobyl that most of you live in, but you refuse to believe it. Why? Because it's hard to change where you live. I get it. But I've got to get you guys to stop blaming the wrong things. So the reason why this is apropos for today, people have asked me questions before. I try to get this message across to a lot of people. We have a lot of seasoned members on here that still make the same mistake with apnea machines. I told you I wrote a blog a long time ago about Jeremy Tomley. It's called Jeremy Spoke at Class Today. It's on the old Jack Cruz site. He's got a fatal disease called cystic fibrosis. When he used hyperbaric oxygen or an apnea machine, his disease got worse, not better. Okay? The reason why? The heteroplasmy rate in his case, which was the lungs, actually caused more damage. So before you guys do something, actually, this is the kind of stuff you want to do a consult for. Because guess what? The gentleman this morning learned something that the Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, the University of Texas, and Harvard University completely shit the bed on. So when you hear the story that today, if you go on my Twitter feed today, you'll see there's a big methylene blue thread. The same fucking story is true about methylene blue. You got no business using it until you know you're the appropriate candidate. Got it? Not all of you are. In fact, most of you aren't. It's the same story, you know, with this. And this question, I'm going to tell you it's good because this is a mistake that a lot of people keep making. And if you've got obstructive sleep apnea and you are using the CPAP machine and you ain't doing any better and you're getting worse, it's the environment until proven otherwise. So that podcast with Sundquist, I don't even think he understood what I told him in it. But you guys got to get this message, because if you use that machine or an HBO machine and you have high heteroplasmy somewhere in your body, you are going to make your problem worse. This is a huge, big issue for people who took the jab. This is away from going, not having a turbo cancer to having a turbo cancer like this. Why? Any of you that read the Melanin Renovation blog, what does it say the key metric is? Hypoxia. Guess what? Hypoxia is a quantized effect to your mitochondria. I've got a couple of blogs coming out. Next two. Oh, if y'all don't get it after this, I mean, I can keep putting it out there, but I can't understand it for you. And I'm telling you, this is going to be a huge, big issue for people who took the jab. Humongous. You need to realize that your mitochondria sets your oxygen tension. That's the truth.
Thank you. I'm not using the machine. I'm going to come down and dive into a caldera for a while, and I'll book a consult. Thank you so much.
All right, good luck. I don't think your tongue's that big either.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Marshall. Marshall, can you unmute your line, please? You're next to speak live.
Hi, I'm greeting you from Cairo right now.
Marshall, your answer is your boy had his heart attack from Elon Musk. You should thank him.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the thing is, it struck me on the flight over here last week. I don't know why, it just hit me. Well, wait a second. When I stay with him, this Starlink, this dish is only like 8 feet away from his bedroom.
When
And
you
it's
said
above.
that,
And then I told him,
I'm like, how dumb can you be? You know, the most,
well, he's not
funniest thing-
decentralized.
wait a minute. Let me just tell you something. The funniest part of your question, I was actually driving back from the Bitcoin farmers market when Christy called me and said, hey, you missed a consult. And Chantel was reading out your question to me about the frequency thing. And you know what? I almost stopped the car and said to her, I said, does his friend not realize that X radiation is higher frequency? He actually told Marshall that fucking bullshit to try to explain it away. I'm like, dude, this guy's a moron. And you want to know something? You're a good friend to put up with a moron like that, to be honest with you. Because that high frequency is even more likely that it caused this problem.
Yeah.
because it's in the terahertz range. And when you just, in the same question, you said 8 feet away, Marshall, that's the inverse square law. So if you put something that's really strong, really close to you, and then something like that happens to you out of the mist, it's not out of the mist. So yes, you do have a duty when you go home to tell your buddy, and what you should do is when you replay this video, put your phone, I normally tell people not to do this, but you need to take a video, chop it, and I'm talking to your friend right now. You're a fucking moron. Get rid of it.
Yeah. He does, the thing is your decentralized thing of Alexis, it just hit me, you could, and I was trying to say, how do I go through the checklist to figure out how to think that way? Because I'm trying to, but I know I'm not there.
But you did. Think about what you just said. You're a brand new member. I just met you at the end of November. You actually became a member, not because of the science stuff, because of the Bitcoin stuff and the Danny Jones podcast. But guess what? Literally in 2 months, you're smarter than some of the members who've been with me 10 years because you figured it out. You just weren't sure that you were telling the guy the truth, and you were. So I want you to go back and literally tattoo it on his head, you dumbass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll just say he was weird because he says, well, I don't have a meter that can measure it, but they tell me that these waves.
He does. It's called his heart attack.
Yeah.
And if you want to know the truth, what you should tell him, here's the follow-up for his consult. He should have a calcium index score. You need to check all his coronaries out. My bet, you're going to find that the calcium index score is raised probably in the place where his heart attack was. How can you prove that you're right about this? Now I'm giving you some high-level advice. Sure. You go get a copy of his EKG after he gets the calcium index score. If the calcium index score and the EKG match, I want you to tell this guy, you owe me a dinner at Il Molino in New York.
Oh, yeah, well, that's he's in London though. But I was going to say that.
All right, then you make him take you to fucking Gordon Ramsay's and run the
yeah. Well, good. Next time I go over there. But the funny thing is, when I stay with them, I'm not that much farther away for 2 or 3 days that I stay. I don't know how much, I mean,
well, I wouldn't stay there. After hearing this story, I'd say I'll get a hotel for $500 a night. It's safer than you.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the only thing, the other thing I was going to say with the previous question about sleep apnea, I have that too. But I use a dental insert for that.
It doesn't matter. You got the same problem. You live in Jersey. That's your problem. I want to hear it.
All right. And
I told you that at the members event too.
I know. And but I was also hopeful that you were saying that you've come down to see something in this last trip, that it's not all about where you moved to, but also about maybe
for COVID. That's for COVID, not for your problem.
No.
COVID, I think for that alone, you probably can stay put where you are if you do some other things. But I'm going to tell you, if I'm jabbed,
I'm not. But
if I'm jabbed, I'm coming to a place where the solar redox is spectacular, and I'll get a cold plunge and do that on my own terms. There's no way that I would try to pull this off, living in Texas or Florida. I think the risk is too high. Like, we're going to talk about it a little bit probably later, but this latest paper, the Yale paper that just came out, you're going to see, I got a whole blog about that and why it's important. Right now, we know that if you took the jab, the answer is you are clearly a GMO person, meaning you're going to make spike protein the rest of your life. I don't know if you know this, but one of the NBA players, the Milwaukee Bucks guy, just missed the rest of the regular season because the place that he got the jab in the shoulder, he's got clots all the way through.
Yeah.
So it tells you what the issue is. Wherever your redox is low, the spike protein goes to that area.
Yeah.
And it's an issue. I mean, look, I wish I was wrong about this, but every month that goes out, I'm more and more right.
Well, I'm taking ivermectin, and I'm just here in Cairo. I'm heading to Istanbul tonight, for a couple of days, and then I'll be back and fly back. But I've been just picking up like 50 boxes of ivermectin. You know,
Do me a
60
favor, when you go to Istanbul, if you go to any good restaurants, put them in your journal so I know, because
Oh, I don't have a journal yet. Should I be doing one?
well, you need to start a journal so I know what restaurants to go to in Istanbul, because I got to fly. I got to fly there to get to Prague because my lawyers told me that I'm not allowed to fly to the UK, France,
Oh,
or Amsterdam anymore because they think they're going to put me in jail.
shit. Oh my
So
God.
I got to fly directly to the Middle East now.
All right. Well, then I spent a lot of time here, so I'll tell you. I mean, I could tell you in Cairo, but in terms of there,
I'm not going to Cairo. It's not
Yeah,
safe for
yeah.
me to be there either.
to.
Although they
Yeah, I
probably
see
like
what
me a
they're
little
doing
bit.
here.
They probably like me a little bit more in Cairo now,
Yeah.
since December, but we'll see
I-
how it goes.
You know, Jack, I just find that travel, when I'm here and I try not to, it's been like 10 months since I've been here. It's just tiring,
Yep.
tiring for me to be here.
I'm not
And
a fan of traveling anymore. I'm not. If I
no,
can go there
no.
on a boat, I'm okay with it. I hate planes. And trust me,
Yeah.
couple blogs in the future. Oh, you guys are going to get in
And-
space.
And Jack, I just wanted to say, I did the MSTR thing at the level. Now it went down a bit. It went
Yeah, but
down like,
it's still early.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I
But you
did.
gotta
I
remember,
did exactly
Bitcoin-
what you said for MSTR,
Bitcoin,
not for,
Bitcoin
yeah.
is down too.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of that is because of all the nonsense going on in the UK with the gold now. And now
Yeah.
Elon and Trump saying, yeah, we're going to live stream Fort Knox. I mean, everybody is like, dude, if they don't have the gold they say they have, I got news for you. You're going to see the biggest rip in the world in
Yeah.
Bitcoin. But it's going to really affect stocks in a different way because technically that's kicking the stool out from the treasury market. That's not going to be good. That's not going to be good for any that's not going to be good for any stock, including MSTR. And that's new. That's all new news from when we had the member event. So you need to realize that.
Well, I don't know what to do about that now. All I know is whatever
Well,
I
the
put
answer
in.
right now is simple. Put it in Bitcoin. It's what, 95 now.
Yeah. Yeah, they go to put, yeah. I'm still like getting there. I'm not quite.
Well,
I'm
I
like,
can't
I guess my
remember I
comfort
told you.
level.
I can tell you, but I can't understand it for you. That's your job while you're in
Yeah.
Cairo, New Jersey, and Istanbul. But if you find any good restaurants in Istanbul, let me know.
Okay, I will send that. What
Put it somewhere. Just
Yeah,
put it
put
anywhere
some-
on the form or start a private conversation with me and say, Jack, go to this place, that place, and that place, and tell me what
right.
you got.
Okay.
All
Fair
right.
enough. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Be safe.
Yeah, well, I'll try, and I'll try to think of more questions that are relevant so we can have a members event.
There you go.
Okay, next is Simone. Simone, can you unmute your line? Thank you, Marshall.
There. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can hear and see you.
Excellent. I took your advice. I ended my relationship and I'm now in flux as to decide what I'm going to do. I love my place here in Canada. I'm out in cottage country.
Do you love what's going on in Canada right now?
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Is it what happened during COVID that you hate so much? Like, what freedoms are
There's
you?
there's nothing about Canada that I like. Nothing.
Well,
Absolutely less than zero.
but give me something. Like nothing
There's
means
nothing.
nothing to
What
me.
do you want me to give you?
What
Okay,
don't
I'll
you
give
like?
you one good thing. Canada makes good ice wine. That's it. I can't find anything good. Look, I try to tell people this. I think
But you're not articulating what's bad.
everything, the politics. I mean, you're going from Trudeau to Carney. That's like
No, but I
going
think
from Mussolini to Hitler.
Polyev is going to be the next prime minister.
Not according to my Canadians, and I got one of them in this house right now. There's a lot of Canadians that really don't like him either.
I know.
So I'm just warning you. Then you've got the issues with your money falling apart. Then you got the issues with the banking side. Then you've got the issues you might become the 51st state because I'm not laughing. I'm dead serious. I can tell you from the
What, you think
Trump is
that,
dead serious about it. Oh yes, I can tell you the people that I know very high up, this is not a marketing joke.
what,
He
they're
is, he
gonna
is,
invade Canada?
no, they're going to fucking destroy it. They're going to make it come to its knees. Hence the reason I'm telling you what I'm telling you. Why in the hell do you want to be in a place like that? And just so you know, because you're not that old a member, I've told you, I've gotten more people out of Canada than probably any other country. And most of them got out 5, 6, 7 years ago. So here you are telling me why? I mean, girlfriend, how about put on Twitter and fucking look through it? If you don't get it after that, you know what? I don't think I can help you. I'm going to tell you something. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say it. If Christy told me she'd be okay staying in California, I would be more behind her that than you staying in Canada. How's that?
Okay, my question was like,
I'm not okay staying in California, so.
Christy just fell off her chair when I said that.
Oh, yeah.
I get it. Listen, I was gone. I was living in Costa Rica. I had a terrible accident and I ended up back here. And I've been here for the last 7 years. Anyway, I'm in El Salvador next week. I feel the same way you do. I just wanted you to articulate what, like,
Everything about Canada is wrong right now. Everything. Now, doesn't mean that it's not going to be that way. Look, I just spent.
Should I sell my house or should I don't have to
I
sell my
would.
house.
Look, I spent 2 days with
I could come down
David
there and
Lamb.
buy a place.
I'm just going to tell you, I spent 2 days with David Lamb, who's one of my longer term members, not long, but probably 6, 7 years. He's got the most interesting tethered story to Canada you could ever imagine. And to David's credit, and I always give him this credit, he was the one that bailed early when he didn't have really good data. He has made such the correct decision. He's now having to make decisions to go back and rescue people in Canada that now can't get out. And he lives in Panama full time.
Why can't they get out?
It's stuff that he would have to discuss with you, but I'm just telling you, my recommendation to you as a Canadian, you probably need to hook up with David. If David is listening to this and he wants to share his phone number or email with you, I think it would be beneficial for you to have a discussion with him. Because I spent the day that I flew home from Suriname, I landed in Panama and I spent almost a full day with David, me and Chantal and David. And we had one of the best discussions I've ever had with a member in my life. And it was about almost fully 100% about Canada. And David's got his head screwed on completely correct. I think you would benefit greatly by talking to a Canadian who's actually been through this, made the tough decision, and now he's got to revisit this because a lot of his friends and family have their head up their ass right now and they're stuck. They can't even get assets out. They can't do the things that they thought they'd be able to do because of when I tell you that Canada right now is more left of Russia in terms of communism, and they are not going to let you out. I'm just telling you, it's going to be brutal. And it's going to get worse. Carney's worse than Trudeau. They're not even letting you guys have elections.
We're having an election any day.
You think so? You're going to get Carney. You think that's really an election or a selection?
Well, he's going to replace Trudeau, but that
There's
doesn't.
your answer. That's not an election.
Liberal
Call
leader.
this election.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay, I need to switch topics because this depresses me and scares the shit
I
out of
think
me.
it's a great thing. Wounds create your wisdom. Look, you impressed me on this call already. Why? Because you got rid of your anchor. Now I'm telling you, let's go after the next anchor.
Okay.
So no, I actually have to tell you, I'm impressed with you. But I'm going to keep pounding you until you realize always fight for freedom and sovereignty, whether it's
I
health
know.
or wealth. You need to do that. If you do that, you're making the right decision.
Well, I'll be there next week. Yeah. Can I ask you just something else? I don't want to get too emotional here. I didn't know. So I told you I had this terrible accident and I developed traumatic cataracts from it. And at the time I thought, oh my God, this is the best thing because I'm a visual artist and I hated where I'd been wearing glasses full time for like 8 years at that point or longer. So when I got my 2 new lenses, I was just, happier, and I'd been good and happy for the last 8 years, but I didn't even think about the fact that, oh my God, what are these lenses made out of? And are they blocking the sunlight? Because I've never worn sunglasses in my life.
You've been wearing them for 8 years. You just don't know it. Kind of explains why you don't get the Canada thing and why you had the boyfriend problem. It's called low dopamine state. But guess what? Next couple of blogs, also going to give you the next level quantum biology, how you fix a lot of this stuff when you have this problem. You're making the right
I didn't
decision
even
by-
know I had a problem.
Well, it's okay. You don't have to. Most people don't know they have a problem. Do you think Kurt Cobain knew he had a problem? Not all the way up until the end. Did Chester Benningfield? No. Did Anthony Bourdain? Nope.
I don't know.
No, I'm telling you, most people don't think they have a problem.
So it's not a problem to kill yourself.
No, I'm not saying that at all. Most people don't realize that when you're in a low dopamine state, your perception is that your life is better than it really is. Why? Because you never put yourself in an environment that's better than you deserve. That's the reason why people fight me tooth and nail until they go to a place like El Salvador and they're like, fuck. And then when they see it, they're like, shit. Like, there's so many stories, that there's people on this call right now that probably could phone you up and they'll tell you the same thing. Well, I didn't think it was that bad. And then I came someplace better and shit, I woke up. I didn't realize because I was blinded to this because of where I was, because you refuse to change the environment you're in.
But I've never been that
the
way. I
fucking
moved
key.
to the jungle of Costa Rica as a single woman in my 40s,
Yeah, but you had sunglasses on.
I didn't.
Went back to Canada.
Well, that was.
And you had dead weight. So guess what I'm telling you? Fix
I know.
it.
Coming
You're on
back.
the right path now. You're on the right path. Just stay on the right path. That's all I'm telling you. And you shouldn't get emotional about this. You shouldn't. Why? The wounds create your wisdom. Don't forget that. What you're going through right now, this is college tuition. You can have the life that you always wanted on the backside. Everybody always cries about the spilt milk. Fuck the spilt milk. You don't even know how good can be down the road. That's the way you want to roll. And that's the key.
Well, like I said, I'm coming down. I'm looking forward to getting a good rest and meeting some of the gang.
Oh, I know there's plenty of freak show down here. So
Well, no, not into that, but it would be really
I'm talking
nice.
about my members. Most of them are freak shows. They're all misfits. They're the people that don't do what anybody else does. So I'm just telling you, it's a perfect place for you to be. You'll find out you're not as crazy as you think.
Oh, that would be so nice. Okay. All right. Well. Oh, one thing. My vitamin D level. We have different values as Canadians. It's
Mhm.
131.7 nanomoles per liter.
Yeah,
Is that and that's
Sucks.
within what?
but it sucks.
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Here, I'm going to put something. Let me see if I can find it. I'm going to put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
When you see it, then you'll know. I got to find out where I can put pictures in here if I can do that in the chat.
Even though I'm in the middle of the yeah. Okay.
No, it's-
131 sucks.
yeah. No, I can't do that. I don't know how to put a picture in here. But I have this good slide of,
Why don't you text it to me, Jack, and then I'll take care
You'll
of it.
send it to me, Crystal?
no, the problem is I don't think I can text it to you because I don't think well, maybe I do have it on my
Or
phone.
email it, either way, and I'll get it to her.
And then you can put it in the chat.
Thank you.
If I can't put it in the chat, I can email it.
Okay. I'll do that. I'll text it to you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Jack. What are you sending me?
Don't worry. Just pay
Alright.
attention. She'll
Okay.
send it to you in the chat and she'll remind you to look at it. Then you'll understand why I said it sucks.
All right. Now, as well, in your blog, your ivermectin dose is different from what somebody just put up in.
Did you not listen to what I just said?
Yes, but that was about why my
Talk to your doctor about how much you weigh and they'll give you the appropriate dose. If you talk to a doctor in Canada about that, they may put you in jail.
that's right. I can't, there's nobody I can talk to. That's why I
Okay,
want
so
to
what did
ask.
you just ask me before? Give me a fucking reason why Canada sucks. There's another one.
Okay.
When you go to El Salvador, you can walk right into the pharmacia, buy your ivermectin. You're
I
done.
bought it in Mexico.
There you go.
I have a place in Merida, but they've been, I'm selling that because
Because it's Mexico.
and there's 5G towers everywhere.
I
you
understand
look.
that. I just like I told Jeannie earlier, I'm not a fan of Mexico anymore either. For the same reason I'm not a fan of.
And Bukele's not going to put 5G in.
They don't have enough money to do it yet. If you ask anybody who's on this call
Yet?
about El Salvador, it's 3G almost everywhere.
Okay, that's cool.
All right, Christy, it's coming.
Okay, thank you.
No, but I do want to take ivermectin as a prophylactic, but I just don't know who to ask. So now I do.
I told you who to ask. You get
Yes.
on Dr. Google, find out how much you weigh in kilograms, look up the dose, milligrams per kilogram, and then you win. Simple. It's easy to do.
But
You don't
I'm
need to talk to anybody.
But it's different from what was just put into the chat.
What do you think? Do you trust the people in the chat? I wouldn't trust any of those people in the chat.
So I should trust Google?
Yeah, because guess what? They're using the PDF. The PDF is the Bible of drugs.
Well, I'm going on your.
I'm telling you, use the Bible of drugs. It's accurate.
Okay. All right.
Figure out how much you weigh, do the milligrams per kilogram. If you took the jab, that's the way to do it. If you didn't take the jab, you just take 6 milligrams a day. End of report.
I did. Okay. And one last question.
Hurry up. You're killing me right now.
All right. I have a sauna. I put a sauna in my house. I have a bath beside it. I fill it up with freezing 50. Thank
Is
you.
it a sauna that plugs into the wall, or are you using the outside like you should in Canada?
No, it's not a geothermic sauna.
Okay, so
It's
it's
an
garbage.
electric.
It's garbage is what you're telling us.
Okay.
So if you
All
want to
right,
use garbage, go ahead. I don't care, but it's not going to do shit for you.
Sweating's good.
Yeah, I'd rather you have sex than do that. You remember, you don't need to have a person to have sex. Just clue.
Okay.
Okay.
enough.
Got it?
Okay. Cool.
Just trying to tell you.
Cool. That's better, actually.
I do think it's better. I do think it's better with a person, but when you have
Yes.
an emergency situation, which you're in now. I'm sure there's a lot of ladies in the room that are smiling right now because they understand. Look, Christy's got her hand up. Christy knows. Christy is now in that realm. Guess what? There's no shame in your game, girl. Don't have it.
I don't have any.
That's it.
I'm good. I'm good. Okay. Thank you. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thanks a lot.
By the way, I have to say, everybody, during that conversation, I texted Jack, I love you, Jack, because
you
of
did?
I did. Look at your text.
Oh, let me see.
Of everything he was telling you, he has made such a difference. I've been with this guy for 13 years. You can imagine the difference and the impact he's had on my life. So listen to the words he says, because
You
he
did
took
say
one
it.
to the
Look, I
heart.
just saw it.
See? I love
See?
you, Jack.
I just saw it now, though, after you said it.
Because he hits the heart. He hits the heart. He may be hard, but listen to his words because it comes from a caring place. So yeah,
Thanks, Christy.
you're welcome. Okay, who do we have next? We have Rowan. Rowan, can you unmute your line, please?
Hello.
That's a pretty interesting follow there. This should be good.
Hello. Greetings from a rather windy Panama. I've had to just move inside quickly. I asked a question. I was going to ask a question about anemia in the tropics. How to fix it?
Sunlight.
Sunlight.
Look, what's the first step, Rowan? You're supposedly a former doctor. Open up the goddamn book. What's the first step in heme synthesis? It's in the mitochondrial matrix. How do you turn the mitochondrial matrix on? Water and CO2. Get in the fucking sun. You're a dark dude. You're not as dark as you should be. That's where the anemia comes from. End of report. You're not allowed to make this mistake.
Okay. Cool.
See, now Martin is allowed to make that mistake. He's a new guy. He came on because he's a Bitcoin guy. If he told me that, fine. But guess what? Martin's lives in Jersey and he's in Cairo. He's got a better tan than you do.
Yeah, and I haven't burnt yet, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, of course. You just came from fucking shitty UK. Where, believe it or not, if the last caller said, what's better, Canada or the UK? I would say Canada is better than the UK, but that's not fucking saying too much.
No, it isn't, because I wouldn't want to go back there at the moment. I'm off to El Salvador very shortly because I need to go and sit in a caldera.
There you go.
There you go, Simone. You need to get to El Salvador. I'll see you there.
See you there.
Thanks, Jack.
All right, good luck.
Cheers.
So far, this Q&A is going pretty good. I like it.
Not too bad. Okay.
I didn't look. Everybody in the back on my back deck is laughing at me right now. See, I can hear them. There's like 8 of them back there.
Okay, we have John. John Kimmer, can you go ahead and unmute your line? You're next to speak live.
Yeah, hi, thanks. Good afternoon, Jack.
Good afternoon.
I Googled on Facebook Jack Cruz dental flossing, and I found an old post on Facebook you put.
Yeah.
And you said you stopped using it like in 1986.
As soon as I got to dental school and I realized it was a scam.
Is it so it's damaging the gums, or what's the story behind that?
It's just fucking superfluous. It's just a centralized belief to sell you dental floss and for you to buy the bullshit that they teach you. It's garbage.
Okay. All right.
And how do we know that? I've already told the story multiple times. Peter Unger, world expert in mammalian skulls, found that the Anubians, who were buried right next to the Sphinx, had perfect fucking dentition in skulls. Let me ask you a question. You think there was any dental floss at that time?
No.
That's your answer. End of report. So everything that they try to teach me in dental school, I became a really big pain in the ass. It's total fucking bullshit. It's the same story that they teach you about sunscreen. They're trying to sell you something, bro.
Okay. And this question came up for me because I'm having problems and I've lost a lot of gum tissue. And
right. So guess what? I remember reading your thing. I was going to light you up, but I'm probably not. You need to understand what I wrote in the melanin renovation prescription. You're losing tissue because your redox sucks.
All right.
Got it?
Got it.
Your redox sucks in your trigeminal nerve, which innervates your gum tissue. Got it?
Got it. Okay.
Well, there's the problem. Learn how to renovate that part of the body. Like, and I will tell you, I think even the Quantum Engineering 47 blog, the melanin renovation one, really, look, I don't know what you guys are getting out of the whole Becker story. What did Becker tell you? DC current leads to regeneration. You don't have, if you have a tissue that sucks, that's your problem. You need the DC current in that part.
Yeah,
I know that your trigeminal nerve innervates, 3 divisions, 1, 2, and 3, ophthalmic, maxillary, and mandibular. If it's your lower jaw, it's the mandibular. If it's the upper jaw, it's the maxillary. If it's above your maxilla, it's the ophthalmic division. That's at the brainstem level. What is the Quantum Engineering 47 blog all about? It's about your brainstem, but what disease that I use as a proxy? I use bipolar disorder. Not because I'm a real fan of bipolar disorder. I just decided to use that as the test case so that you can understand kind of what's going on.
Okay. Is there a way to regenerate the gums? I've done this
Yeah.
grafting and it's very painful and expensive and not
Yeah.
effective.
Horrible. I mean, the best thing is, just as I told the other young lady from Canada, you're likely living in a place that's redoxing and stealing your fucking energy from your head and neck.
Yeah, I'm in Silicon Valley, so that's
Come on, give me a fucking break.
yeah,
I
okay.
mean,
All right.
I mean, are you kidding me, brother? I mean, if you've been a member long enough, I mean, this is the answer. But you have to realize something. You're getting sold a line of bullshit from the periodontist and the oral surgeon. You want to keep doing that, great. But it's telling you that your job is trading time for money. Now, I understand that's a very inconvenient truth for you, but you don't pay me to rub your back and make you feel better. You pay me to tell you the truth. And when I tell you that all of Robert O. Becker's work was based on mammalian regeneration, if you have a tissue, which you do, that's degenerating, it's because you have no DC electric current in that area. So that tells us that your head and neck is the place where you need melanin. That means not only on the outside, but also on the inside. And if you live in Silicon Valley, you got the answer. Just remember what Rick Rubin said to me and Huberman on that podcast. Jack, when I leave Costa Rica, I lose my tan as soon as I land at LAX.
Yeah, I lose my tan right away when we get to vitamin D winter here. I mean, it's quick.
You just guess what? That's the reason why your gums suck.
All right. The other question was I had vertigo and my dentist says it was caused by my TMJ problem. And the neurologist thought she was crazy and said absolutely not.
This is where one of the few times the neurologist is right and the dentist is wrong.
All right. Well, I think
And
the dentist.
just so you know, the teeth and the ear thing, they're also related. Why? Also, two problems related to the same problem. Bad melanin in the head and neck.
All right. Okay. And one of the earlier callers who was talking about her tongue is too big. My dentist would say that your tongue isn't too big. It's just that your occlusion, your skull is underdeveloped.
Yeah, well, you can her problem, she's been a member for a while. She's got a class 2 malocclusion. She does have a small jaw. She's like Prince Charles, but that's still not her problem. She lives in a shithole. There's plenty of people that have class 2 or class 3 malocclusions that get by fine. But once their environment flips to net negative, charge me and lost, that's when it becomes a big problem. In fact, I did a consult with a doctor this week whose class 3 malocclusion got worse. And I told him the same thing I'm telling you guys right now, that it's because your redox is being stolen from you at a higher rate than it was before. That's the reason why. It's uncompensated. And that's what I would tell you why your TMJ sucks. Why? TMJ sucks because your gums are falling apart. Same thing. Just so you know, your TMJ mostly innervated by the maxillary and mandibular division. So it's the same story with your teeth.
I see. Okay, I got it.
The reason why your dentist was a dingleberry and your
Yeah.
neurologist was smart.
Well, my dentist gave me an Alpha appliance, and I haven't had vertigo
Hard stop,
since.
John. Hard stop. They gave you an appliance. What does that tell you? They made money from it. Now you've had the placebo effect. Great. And I'm going to tell you, if it works, wear it. I have zero problems with it. But my bet is, if you do it long enough, the vertigo and the tinnitus will likely come back.
I see. Okay. Well, I don't wear it anymore. I just wore it for a short time, but okay. I appreciate it. It's, got to hear the truth no matter what.
I mean, this is a good biohack for you to do, but I'm just telling you, you live in a place that's Chernobyl. I had 3 good friends, Nicole, Rick Rubin and Jack Dorsey all live where you live, and they all left. They all got better. And I didn't have to do
I know.
surgery on them.
Yeah. I know I got to leave. I'm just fiat farming, trying to get as much Bitcoin as I can.
I understand that too.
So yeah, that's it. But I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
The one thing I will say to John, this is one of the few things, while you're in Silicon Valley, instead of getting periodontal surgery, just use chlorhexidine, mouth rinse. It's way cheaper until you leave. I would probably tell you to do that.
Okay, thank you, Indy. You're right on time. Go ahead and speak.
Hi, Dr. Cruz. I am trying to teach medical students and residents how to assess redox status when making decisions about patient care. So I'm trying to help them understand, like on a subjective, like patient symptoms, and then also,
Just do a hard stop. I have two
okay,
blogs written about this. Print the blogs up, hand it to them. That's it.
okay,
Redox 1 and Redox 2.
okay,
Old Jack Cruz site, not the Patreon site.
okay. Will do.
Gives you
Thank
30
you.
different things to check.
Okay.
Ironically, from the last call, guess what? Tooth pulp testing is in there. How do you like that? It's one of the
Huh.
things you can do.
Okay. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Thank
That
you,
one was
Indy.
easy. I like that.
Okay, Tiffany, if you can go ahead and mute. Thank you.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Yeah. Hi, Jack. Just had a question about your Suriname trip because I saw your pod with Alexis and sounded kind of crazy. So I just more have questions about stuff that you probably can't share publicly or that you would maybe share with us just about what's kind of really going on. And then obviously RFK, how much time do we wait to see if he's really going to do something with mRNA or
100
just
days.
where stuff is?
100 days. That's it.
Okay.
He's on a very short lease with me.
Yeah. And do things feel pretty ominous? I mean, how are you feeling about?
I don't know. I got a meeting coming up in about 2 weeks with insiders from Trump and insiders from Maha and some of the people here in El Salvador. Maybe I'll have more to say about that next month,
Okay.
but I don't trust any of them.
Yeah. And I saw Lutnick got confirmed, so that's terrible, right?
No, I wouldn't say it's terrible. It's okay that he got confirmed in commerce. Just keep him the fuck away from Treasury and keep him the fuck away from healthcare. Like the stuff that he said about the Stargate project with Larry Page in the office in the Oval Office with Trump, that is fucking psychotic talk.
Yeah.
But that shows you who he is. You know, that's why I warned you guys about him, you know, in November and December. I said the guy is he's a Mossad agent. He's a
Yeah.
double passport guy that is lying through his fucking teeth. He's the number one guy right now in Trump's cabinet that I trust the least. Probably number 2 is Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then number 3 would probably be Peter Thiel.
Mm-hmm. Shit. Okay. So basically you just get as much Bitcoin as you can, get as healthy as you can, and then just
Well, I mean, the story is always decentralize your life as much as you can.
yeah.
I mean, that's really always been the message for, I think, 20 years. I think 5 years ago, I started talking, well, was it? Yeah, 5 years ago is accurate. 5 years ago is when I started talking about decentralizing your money because I felt decentralizing your money was going to allow you to have the freedom to go where you need to go. And if you've listened, you know, just in this beginning of this Q&A, we've only been doing it for about an hour. What's the common thread? People who made decisions thought they were okay. Like, I'll give you a perfect example. The first leadoff, Jeannie left Nashville, went to Florida. Now she finds out Florida sucks. So the advice that I probably gave Jeannie 5 years ago was be a traveling Wilbury. Don't fucking set your feet down in the sand. What did I do? I made the same mistake Jeannie did. I went Nashville to New Orleans to Mississippi, Mississippi to Florida, and Florida to El Salvador. And just so you know, because I did that, it cost me probably about $4 or $5 million.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So, you know how you can afford $4 or $5 million if you got a lot of Bitcoin. $4 or $5 million you drop in the well. What am I trying to tell all you guys? If you live in a shitty place, your gums are receding, you think Trudeau's great, you got a boyfriend that's an asshole. Yeah, buy Bitcoin, because guess what? You can change your life. And when you change your life, then I want you to go to a place that's good, where you're not going to have to worry about your health or your sovereignty or your medical freedom. You'll be able to become a savage and do the things you want to do. You'll get to pick who you sleep with, who you spend time with, who you hang out with. And when you do all that, you won't have to worry or sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight. That's what I'm telling you.
And you definitely think we're going to have to leave America at some point, huh?
No, I'm actually more optimistic about America, what Trump's doing. I mean, here's the shocker. Everybody knows, at least in our tribe, that I'm not a Trump guy, that I've always been a Bobby guy. Now you're hearing me say, I don't know so much I'm into Bobby, but I'm much more into what Trump's doing. My problem with Trump, he's a little bit too tight with Israel for my liking. He's a little bit too tight with the Mossad. He's a little bit too tight with Lutnick. He's a little too tight with Elon. He's a little too tight with Peter Thiel. But right now, when he's slipping it in me, I'm okay with it. But someday down the road, do I think that the sword will be the sharp edge that I'm going to get? Yeah, because there's a thread on the forum that I put out for you guys that I just don't think you guys read. I think the Rockefeller Rothschild empire is being replaced right now by the technocrats, which are Elon, Thiel, and the rest of the guys. Right now, everything's good. And I know people like Jeannie and people like the girl in Canada, they don't want to fucking hear any of this. But you guys need to start fucking thinking about shit like this. Because none of you do. You think you don't realize you make the same mistake people make in the stock market. You think about the next quarter instead of 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
You're always worried about, when's my next date coming from? Where's my next dinner coming from? Instead of like, is this a good place to really be 10 years from now? Now, there's a lot of things about the United States that I think can change. Like if Trump does, I've already said this, if he just makes the stockpile, the reserve, whatever the fuck he wants to call it, if he does that in the United States, I think that the dollar has probably got another 50 years to run. So I think people will be okay. But here's the problem. Just like I told Jeannie what she didn't want to hear. She's like, Jack, Florida's not that great anymore. And what did I tell her? I don't think it's going to be good. I'm telling her the same story I'm telling my little Canadian girl. The same fucking story, except she's closer to the end of the Titanic that's getting close to the cold water. Jeannie, she's on the part where they're not playing music around her yet. Everything's still okay. She's dry, but she's looking and she's like, fuck, I don't like what I see. Well, guess what? You're going to wait? You're going to wait till your fucking feet are wet? Or maybe you're going to plan for stuff. And here's the thing. It's hard to plan when these type of decisions cost you money. So why am I keep telling you guys to stack? Because guess what? From our other lady, the little 0.1 Bitcoin may turn out to be something substantial that saves her life. Maybe the air in her lifeboat that changes the mix. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. So when you think you got enough, this is what I'm going to tell you to do. Slap yourself, because you don't.
Right. Yeah.
And look at all your anchors. Yeah, look, most of the people that have talked today, they're ladies. You ladies should know better than anybody else. You got fucking any anchors in your life, get rid of them. I don't give a shit if it's your boyfriend, your husband, your family, your mother, your father. I don't want to hear the bullshit anymore. I really don't. You got to treat everybody with the same modus operandi. If they're not part of Team Tiffany, they're not fucking part of your team. I just gave this message to Chantel today. Her fucking family is a bunch of toxic fucks, but she keeps letting them play music in her head. Sorry, not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's probably been the hardest thing, is to get used to. I mean, many people have left my life once the vaccine came out. So
that's good. So you know you do.
Yeah.
Remember, your friends can be your family. Go find better friends.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know why so many people are resistant to this.
I know. Well, they're under mind control, right? I mean, it's just a reality.
I mean, I think some of you are.
Yeah,
Like, I'm being honest with you. When I look at the questions, I'm like,
yeah. It's a
What's
lot more evil
wrong?
than people want to admit, I think.
well, I just think it's what I told the lady from Canada a little while ago. When she said, well, tell me what's wrong with Canada. If I have to tell you, you're fucking asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, all you got to do is get on Twitter and see it for yourself. I mean, fucking Canadians are booing our national anthem because our president's going to turn you into the 51st state. And then everybody thinks it's a joke. He's not joking.
Yeah.
And
Or
what he's
oh,
getting ready
check
to do,
out.
what he's getting
Sorry, go
ready to
ahead.
do in Mexico is even worse. He's getting
Yeah.
ready to fucking blow the cartels up. He now passed a law or an executive order where he can shoot at them. And nobody's going to cry for them. What did JD Vance just do? He went over to Europe and said, you're a bunch of pussies. And we're fucking almost done with you. We're getting to walk away from NATO and take our soldiers home. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
That's the reason I don't like Trump. I don't think he's gone far enough. I tell Europe right now to go fuck themselves. I'd be so far out of there, especially the people in the UK and France and Amsterdam. Oh, fuck that. The only place I'd go in Europe right now is probably Italy and Poland. That's where the power is. Also Hungary. Don't let me forget Hungary. I like the people in Hungary too, because they're pushing back against the EU bullshit. Look, it's about sovereignty. Every single place I just told you. If sovereignty doesn't reign, freedom doesn't reign, no, fuck that. You got to push back on that stuff. And if you don't expect me to treat you like, a little baby and burp you. No, I'm going to fucking smack the shit out of you.
Yeah.
You deserve better than you're being treated by your government. It's the same as that, and realize that. Just the same way I would tell you, if you're a lady, you deserve to be treated better by your man, or the vice versa. I would just tell you, I think it's a real big problem for a lot of people, and people don't like talking about it. I don't know why.
Right.
It doesn't bother me in the least to bring it up. But a lot of people have a hard time talking about it. The truth pisses a lot of people off. But the thing is, when you get the truth out on the table, you know what? Your life becomes a lot easier to deal with.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I love about you. That's what brought me here. So thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Okay, next one is Jen. Jennifer, if you can go ahead and unmute your line, please.
Hi, thanks for taking my question and thanks for all that you do, Jack. I really appreciate it. I was diagnosed 2 years ago with a non-operable meningioma.
Stop. I remember reading this.
Yeah,
Tell me why they told you it was non-operable, because just so you know, these days, that's bullshit. So I want to know where the tumor is.
it's right behind my nose, and they pretty much
Behind
told
your
me
nose?
behind the nose, like right here.
That's easy place to operate on.
Okay, but they said that with where it's located, it's around a lot of sensitive nerves and an artery or
Right, so
arteries.
it's probably the carotid artery and the optic nerve. I get it. I've done this surgery. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So you know what I'm hearing? Your neurosurgeon doesn't have the skill set to take it out. So here's your job. You go contact Dr. Michael Lawton, Lawton. He's on Twitter. Send him a DM. You tell him you're one of my clients and you've been told this. Send him your pictures, your MRI, your story. Let him look at it. If that guy tells you that you can't be operated on, then I believe it's inoperable.
Okay.
That's it.
Well,
And he's at, just so you know, he's at the Barrow Neurologic Institute in Arizona, but they do telemedicine consults. So that's what you need to do.
I will do that. Thank you for that suggestion. Have you ever seen anybody shrink their meningioma?
Many times.
Many times?
Yep.
Do you have any threads I can pull on to learn about what I can do other than your protocols, which I'm already on the leptin RX?
Actually, just told you about the protocol. Do you know what innervates the meninges? Because remember, the meninges are the covering of the brain. You technically don't have a brain tumor.
Right.
It's the covering of the brain. Do you know what innervates the covering of the brain, where that is? The trigeminal nerve. You have the same problem as John Kemmer. So guess what that tells me? You live in a shithole and your brainstem has no redox in it. That's what I already know about you, and I don't know shit about you. But now that I know where that tumor is, I know that the ophthalmic division and the maxillary division innervate that part of the meninges.
Well, and I did have an issue with the trigeminal nerve. I was feeling tingling down my face, and I was told that that was a trigeminal nerve issue. So I'll go back.
Guess what? You also have a tumor in the trigeminal issue. So what does that tell you? You have no redox in that area, no melanin. So you just said to me, Jack, how do you shrink it? Put the melanin back into the central retinal pathways through that. What blog is that in? The melanin renovation blog. What's the other part where I talk about the trigeminal nerve and all that jazz and the DLF? Quantum Engineering 47. So your problem is your head, your neck, and your eyes. So guaranteed your environment blows.
Yeah, for sure. I live in Chicago.
Oh,
So I live outside of Chicago by like 40 minutes, but
okay, that's still living in Chicago.
that's still living in Chicago. So I'll go look at the 2 blog posts that you mentioned. I'll reach out to Dr. Michael Lawton to take a look at my situation. And you said that you've seen people shrink theirs naturally. So if I do what it says on those blogs, I should see a reduction.
You're going to have to leave Chicago.
I know. And I'm not opposed to that, actually. We're leaving already, which is a question of, is it going to be like next year or in 3 years?
So I will tell you, I don't know if she's going to want to speak up. There is a person on this call right now that has a brain tumor that's also been told is inoperable. And she's in El Salvador now going on 3 years. And guess what? I haven't heard that she's had brain surgery in the 3 years she's been here. And her tumor hasn't gotten any bigger from all the things I know. So guess what? You got somebody in your midst. If she reaches out to you and speaks to you, great. She may not want to talk to you, but I'm just telling you, she doesn't have the same type of tumor you got. But guess what? It's pretty damn close to the same place. And her tumor is probably 10 times the size of yours.
I don't know, but and then is a hyperbaric chamber at all?
But for you, that would be the stupidest thing you could do.
Okay, so that would be a bad idea.
Really bad idea.
Okay. And then just a shameless plug, because you sound like you're connected to a lot of powerful people. And one of the ideas that I read about in a book was that if we could get our congressmen and senators to live and work in their home districts and maybe travel to DC a few weeks a year, we'd be like able to fix so many of our issues. And I love that idea. I think it has a lot of political support from both sides of the aisle.
You know why it doesn't happen?
Well, all the special interests, I'm sure.
Oh, it's even something more proximal than that. You ever hear the term incentives dictate outcomes?
Yeah.
Guess who's going to take them out to dinner? The lobbyists are not going to go to their home district.
Right. That's right.
So guess what? All the money they're getting is right there in DC. They're not leaving. Every single one of them is a crook. The only one that I think is not a crook right now, Massey, Rand Paul, and Senator Ron Johnson. The rest of them, they're all crooks.
I just didn't know if there was a shot, because I know that Trump has been trying to decentralize from
Zero
DC.
shot. What we need is 500 people in Congress. That's what we need. We need a complete reset.
Okay.
They all need to go. And if you keep voting for the same idiots, like the people in California, Maxine Waters, I just don't fucking get it. How about your idiot in Chicago, Pritzker? Hello.
Yeah. Well, we have I don't even want to talk Chicago politics. I agree with you, but incentives dictate outcomes. And if you don't get them out of DC, you're going to have 1% of the population that's honest enough to withstand those incentives, like Massey.
So can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you a question now. We're going to flip the Q&A. Why doesn't Uncle Jack live in the United States anymore?
Well, you don't get enough sun, 5G.
Because the politicians don't do what they're supposed to do. Got it?
Yeah. Well,
I have zero faith. If you want to know the truth, I have more faith on you shrinking your meningioma than any politician doing what's fucking right.
Okay. And then last question, have you ever heard of German New Medicine?
I have heard of it.
What do you think of it?
I don't know enough about it to make a formal declaration.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time.
All right, good luck.
Thanks.
Take care.
Okay, next we have Natalie. Natalie, can you unmute your line, please?
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you, Christy. Hi, Dr. Cruz. How are you?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I had sent you two questions, a little charged, but I hope it was succinct enough. The first question was, is there any correlation between PCOS, uterine fibroids, and the last one was eating disorders? Yeah.
All of them are tied to circadian mismatches.
Circadian mismatches. Okay.
And trust me, I've written tons about that over 20 years. There's tons of information on the form. Use the search box. You'll be overwhelmed.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Because every time I keep getting my scans for my uterine fibroids, they tell me, no, it has nothing to do with your PCOS. And I'm like, how? How is that not related?
That is like psychotic.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. And I've been trying to get a diagnosis for PCOS for the past 10 years, and I finally got it January 2024. I knew something was wrong with me, doc, and they kept telling me, no, you're too young.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you probably have a transgenerational epigenetic mismatch. And by the way, there's a thread on that on the form too. Read that.
Oh, yes. Okay, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you. And next question was, I had bariatric surgery in August 2023. A bunch of
Not a good move.
I know. Trust. I'm very upset with myself. I know.
What did you do? Did you do a sleeve or did they do a full Roux-en-Y?
Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. I know it's irreversible. I made a big mistake.
Not only that,
Dr.
you're
Cruz.
probably just screwed your PCOS and fibroids and everything else.
Yes, I know, doc. I'm reading everything now, and I'm very upset with myself. I know. I know. I blame no one but me. I know.
I would just tell you, I mean, you just limited your choices. You're going to have to move probably inside the tropics. You're not going to get a better answer.
Yeah, I figured that. Okay. Sorry. Shit, I didn't want to get emotional.
Well, I mean, I don't want to make you emotional. I'm just going to tell you, this kind of hits home for me. Why? One of my oldest members, this is going back a long time ago. She had this, she was a nurse, did it, and she wound up dying early because of it. And then where it really hits home for me, one of my scrub techs did this. She never really needed to have it done, but her husband was an asshole. I think he was probably 5'4", 5'5". She weighed maybe 150, 160 pounds. She had the thing done and she wound up hanging herself off my operating room light. I was the last person that she saw.
That's
when
terrible.
She asked me what to do. And I told her, I said, the only thing you can do is probably move down to the tropics because I don't think there's anything that's going to help you.
Right.
Killed herself and she had an 11-year-old daughter.
Oh shit.
So
I feel her pain because I'm going through it right now.
It's one of those things where you got to get very, very serious about your decision making. And once you take that step, it's kind of like the step people take when they, do cataract surgery and put the lenses in.
Oh shit. Okay, my dad just had that done. Great.
Yeah, it's an irreversible step.
Oh god. Okay. Okay. Yes. And so right after my bariatric surgery, I was one of the very lucky people that had 1,000,002 complications, and my surgeon removed my gallbladder a month and a half later because it was full of gallstones. What do I do?
I mean, there's nothing you can do. The gallbladder's gone.
Yeah.
Should have
That's what
read
I
the,
heard.
you could have read the gallbladder blog that's out there. Old Jack Cruz site tells you about that.
Yeah, I only found you after, unfortunately.
And now you're going to be high in estrogen. You just made the PCOS worse.
Yeah.
I got a lady in my house right now. I don't know if she's going to tell you the story, but she called me from the emergency room about her gallbladder, and I told her the same thing I'm going to tell you because you got part of the problem. I said, stop
Yeah.
drinking Malbec at night and stop working in blue light, and your
Yeah.
gallbladder pain will go away. And guess what? It magically did. She still has her gallbladder.
Oh, good. Okay.
She's
Good
actually
for
in my
her.
house right now.
Oh, nice.
It's
I'm very,
you get
very
the- you
glad
get
for
the
her
pain-
because this is hell.
yeah,
I'm in hell
you
right
get that
now.
pain because of the circadian mismatch and all the gut organs. And when you had the Roux-en-Y, that's absolutely why this happened.
Yeah. Well, it's illegal to be a woman and fat.
To be honest with you, I like fat women.
Yeah. Well, thank God for men like you.
I'm being honest with you. I think, I hate to say this, but I think women are their own worst enemy. They're always beating themselves up.
Yeah, we sure are. I 100% agree. Regarding my uterine fibroids, doc, the treatment that they keep pushing is the wait and see for fibroids, which is driving me crazy because I feel like it's getting worse.
No, it is going to get worse. You just had every single problem you had is tied to the circadian mismatch. So is the fibroids. Fix that, and then you'll fix that problem. And if
Okay.
the fibroids are too far gone, you're going to wind up having a hysterectomy. That's the next step.
Okay.
So if you don't fix the circadian mismatch, and this is the way the mismatch goes. When you read all the blogs, you'll find out it goes eyes, skin, gut, then pelvis. That's what you got to fix. Those are the 3 levels of the clock gene mechanism.
Eye, skin.
Gut, and then
Gut.
perineum. If your skin, girlfriend, let me just tell you something. You're a farm member, I'd make you take all your clothes off and dance like a rotisserie chicken in front of me. If you didn't have a good tan everywhere, I would fire you as a patient.
Yeah. Well, I'm one of the very unlucky people that also lives in Canada. So, yeah. Yep, I know. I'm trying. Well, it's actually worse where I'm in Quebec.
Well, you're in the part of Canada that it's the most communist.
Yes, it's disgusting. I'm very unhappy with everything that's going on. And these tariffs are a nightmare.
Well, I hope he wallops Canada.
I hope so too. It's and this is why nobody likes me anymore, because I keep telling everyone that he did it for a reason, but they think I'm insane.
Gravy train needs to end. Everybody needs to pay their fair share.
Agreed. Sorry, Dr. Cruz, a follow-up question. Once I get the circadian eye, skin, gut, I have yet to read those blogs. So that's the first thing I'll do. But is there do you recommend any kind of surgical removal of the fibroids?
In your case, I think it's very likely you're going to have them removed. In fact,
okay.
Probably if you would have talked to me before, if they were going to take your gallbladder out, I would have said, look, while you're in there, just take that out. Because to be honest with you, it'll probably save you some issues. But do I think, since you're very new in this game and you haven't done anything, how old are you?
32.
Yeah, you're too young. So I wouldn't have told you to take your uterus out.
Yeah,
Are you done having kids?
I don't want children, but I can't. I don't feel comfortable removing my uterus right now.
But are you done having kids?
I don't have any, and I'm not sure if I want. So I don't want to remove my chances at all.
Okay, so then I would tell you you need to read everything you can about the eye clock back on the old Jack Cruz site. I forget what blog it's in. It's called.
Sure.
Just put my name,
yeah.
Rolex eye clock. It'll pop up.
Okay.
Then I think the other ones, I can't remember the other ones. I've written so much about this. I would just tell you to probably put PCOS and my name in.
PCOS, yeah, that's what one of the first things I did when I
Probably
read
put
your blog.
fibroids in a Google box and do that.
Yes.
But the I'm trying to remember the other one. There's a couple of good, I think, also blogs I've written about female issues on LinkedIn. So I would tell you to go to
Oh.
LinkedIn and do a search there.
Okay.
I had about 150 articles there. And I mean, most of this stuff about PCOS and hormone stuff is all linked through probably the last 3 or 4 series. I know there's a lot of stuff in the quantum engineering series, but also I think even in the quantum thermodynamics series, there's stuff, but the forum is loaded with shit too.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Somebody just posted in there, June 2017, the basics of the eye clock.
Oh,
And then the other thing you want to write down is anything where I talk about Boson's loop. That's Natalie's main problem.
Boson's loop. Okay, noted.
She's got your problem, just so you know that. I just told everybody.
Who?
I just took her gallbladder out for
Oh.
after Ruin Y. No, you didn't take yours out because you called me. There you go.
Yeah. I didn't have Dr. Cruz, unfortunately, on my corner.
What Natalie just said? Good. I'm glad you just slapped her, Natalie. She's a little bit too big for her britches right now.
Sorry, I forgot her name, but hang on to him.
Oh, that's not Chantel we're talking about. This is one of my members.
I see.
She's actually a farm member. She's over here just trying not to speak or mention or make a noise right now.
So Boson's loop, okay, and it's in the chat, right?
Azan. See in the chat, people are helping you out already. That's January 2017.
Oh, Boson. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to multitask and get the chat up. Thank you so much, Dr. Cruz.
You got enough. Start there and go from there.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
Too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Canada. God. Canada's a cancer that keeps giving.
Yep. Okay, so we have questions to be asked now. First one's from Dick Ran. Please review for those of us that are not COVID vaccinated, the cautions we need to take interacting with the COVID vaccinated to not get the spike protein.
Simple. Stop. Simple. The same rules that are in place for hepatitis B, C, and HIV. No bodily fluids. Raincoat.
Yep.
Not hubcap.
As I tell my kids, make sure you wrap it.
Yep.
Okay, next is from B. Hi, Dr. Cruz. I recently found out my best friend had to be hospitalized at Albany Med and had fluid on the brain. They were able to shunt it, but it took a while because the CSF was thick, if that makes sense. He was eventually diagnosed with CNS lymphoma. Once he is out and home between chemo treatments, is there anything extra we can do to keep him in the planet longer?
Probably not. The 3 most deadly cancers: GBM, pancreatic cancer, and CNS lymphoma. Really bad. The reason why the spinal fluid is thicker is because there's too many lymphocytes in it. Again, this is absolutely non-native EMF. Wherever this person lives, they had a building biologist come out. Fine. The only chance this person has to save their life absolutely needs to be in El Salvador and stay there. Just go back and get your shunt checked every so often. But if this person doesn't change their environment, they will be dead in a year.
Next question from B. I have a 64-year-old female patient with a shrinking hippocampus. Is this an example of higher level neurodegeneration, and can this be remelanated?
Lower level degeneration. This is bad sign. This is somebody that's going to go on and develop a dementia. And they're only 64. So that's, again, same issue. They live in a shithole. And is it easy to regenerate it? Remember what I said to John Kemmer earlier about Palo Alto? The same thing is true with this hippocampus. Melanin renovation, number 1. If your hippocampus is shot, that means your mammillary bodies are shot. Means your temporal lobes are shot. You have no POBC, no melanin in those areas. This tells you, maps out to the central retinal pathways.
Okay, last from B. Lastly, I have a 16-year-old male athlete who still wets the bed. He was once put on okay.
Quantum engineering, I think it's 27, 28. The whole blog is about vasopressin. Read it. Guess what that is? No POMC, no melanin in the hypothalamus. End of report. Look, this guy's a doctor and he's asking these questions. He's 0 for 3. Okay? 0 for 3. All of this covered in blogs. Somebody ain't reading the blogs that's got a high healthcare degree. Epic fail.
Next from David. How many of the 6 million are going to be around in 5 years when the solution can be shared?
Great question. And I think, David, a lot of them will be around, but they're going to be sick as fuck. And Pfizer and Bristol Myers Squibb is going to be wallet biasing the fuck out of them. So if you're into stocks, buy those stocks.
Okay, from Chris. How does lupus anticoagulant come about?
Hard stop. Lupus is an autoimmune condition. How do you get autoimmune conditions? Current blogs, last 3. You have a mismatch through your eye, a mismatch through your skin. Where's all the T regulatory cells in your skin? You get lupus because your immune system is down-regulated. Your T regulator cells don't work. You eventually make antibodies from lymphocytes. Those antibodies cause the anticoagulant in your blood. That's how you get it. Why? Because you're in blue light, non-native EMF, and you're not in the sun enough. And when the lupus gets really, really bad, guess what they tell you? Oh, I'm hypersensitive to the sun. You know what that's like? It's like getting a sunburn. What do I tell people? When you get a sunburn, it means you're not in the sun enough. When you get these complications from lupus, it's the exact same story. Change the environment to the tune that nature plays, not the one you're living in. End of report. That's also covered in all the autoimmune blogs. Just wrote a blog literally within the last month about how your skin has its own immune system. Guys.
Read. Okay, next from Paul. Let's see how he does.
Rita's all upset now. She's so white. She's like, shit, I didn't read that one.
Okay, Paul, looking to buy EMR Tech red light unit. Do you have recommendations on wattage minimum and frequencies that are
I have
critical?
no recommendations at all. I don't make recommendations for red light.
Which deuterium depleted water brand do you
Hold on,
use?
I'm not finished yet. You want to buy a red light, right? This is the key. I don't know what your issues are. There's no way I can answer this question. I don't know any of your N equals 1. So there's no way to do that. Now, if you had a optimal journal and this and that, and I knew a little bit more about what your situation is, that answer could be discoverable. So why did I allow this question? Because I know there's people that are going to listen to this podcast and go, well, I have the same question. Well, maybe you put all that information on the form. If you don't want to do that, you book a 30-minute consult and you tell me what your issue is. And then I'll tell you which one I think might be the best for you. Yeah, if I have no context, I can't make a guess.
Yeah.
That's like asking Dave Asprey, which dose of glutathione should I buy? He's going to say buy any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buy the 3-pack, as Chantal says.
Does it come in 6? Okay. Which deuterium depleted water brand do you use, or is there a purity level of deuterium depleted parts per million that you recommend?
I let this question through. Why would you assume that I use deuterium depleted water?
She means for your patients.
No, again, same answer to the red light. If I'm going to make a recommendation, do I need an N equals 1? How many Q&As have I said? Most people don't need deuterium depleted water, but somebody's asking me this question again. So I'm assuming this is a new person. Who's the person's name? What's her name? Paul what? Paul what?
IAO.
Oh, he's an old guy. That's even worse.
He's been around for
yeah, he's been a member for a while. So the answer is, if I don't know your N equals 1, I can't tell you.
So you're probably not going to like number 3.
Okay, go for it.
RE Magnetico bed magnets. We have one, but what Gauss minimum should we be going for? They deliver 14 under H-inch bed, but only half that under our 16-inch bed. Do you think it's worthwhile doubling up?
I don't know, but I mean, if you already bought one, that's sunk cost. Generally, you want to use a 20 Gauss. If you're not getting the 20 Gauss, you probably need to get there. But again, could that be a waste of money if it turns out you live in a shithole or you got some other problems? The answer is yeah, I don't know. I really don't know the answers to that.
His last question, what position did you play in baseball? I can see you pitch
Catcher.
catcher. Okay. Okay, let's go on to one. Number one, what is your opinion on quartz glass or plexiglass to allow UV and IR?
Love it. Very expensive, very hard to find. But in the farm in Louisiana, all the windows were quartz. Cost me a fucking fortune. Very expensive.
Okay. Let's see. Number two, can you explain this tweet? I'm glad somebody is saying it. That Sailor tweet is where everything changed for me. Reference is a tweet saying that Sailor's tweet is literally the definition of a Ponzi.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's pretty simple. I said the number one thing that he's pushing, if you guys remember, last year Prague, because it's almost, well, it's not a year, it's probably like 7 months away. I had a private dinner with Sailor, and I sat with another big Bitcoiner, which most of you guys know, Parker Lewis, who's the CEO of Unchained Capital. And we had a very interesting conversation between Parker and Michael. And that's when Michael got first uncovered by me that he's really a store of value guy. He doesn't give two shits about self-custody. If any of you really follow what I told you to do, always follow me on X. Don't follow me anywhere else. If you follow me anywhere else, probably Instagram is the best second place. There's a sign or a picture the day that Nicole went to meet Bukele, which is the end of November, beginning December. So that'll give you an idea. You can go back and look at it. Self-custody is a lloydial title. If you're a store of value only person, what are you basically saying is that you're not behind self-custody. The reason Sailor says that is because he owns 500,000 Bitcoins through his corporation. So is he like everybody on this call? The answer is he's not. And what is he saying? I would rather the government make the decision to allow me to leverage my Bitcoin by putting it with Fidelity or Schwab or JP Morgan Chase so that I can do shit with it that puts my Bitcoin at risk. I don't think that's a good idea for anybody else. And the fact that he's advocating that in a tweet and not giving people context about it, I gave him a pass when he said it privately to me and Parker. But now that he's out there tweeting about it, that is total fucking bullshit. And he's lost a lot of my respect because I think he's closer probably to a shitcoiner than a real Bitcoiner. Doesn't mean I don't think he's a Bitcoiner. I think he does, but he's gotten so big for his britches now that he's talking about his own bags and he's not talking about the true ethos of Bitcoin. The bottom line is your Bitcoin is your Picasso. Self-custody is how it runs. And that's the way it should be. That should be the answer, my opinion, for everybody. So if Sailor's correct, how do you reverse the Ponzi scheme? Say if you're Trump or Lutnick or Scott Bissett, the Treasury Secretary, you make Bitcoin fucking tax-free. You want to make it a store of value? Great, but make it tax-free. Then, and only then, can I tell you that the politicians are actually not talking out their ass.
Okay, number three from Juan. What is the mechanism in your skin when using a loofah sponge? How do you recommend doing it? How often do you recommend?
All you're doing is scratching off the dead skin that's loaded with deuterium. That's it. I mean, am I a big fan of that? No, because of the auger effect. The auger effect actually keeps all that deuterium in your skin, so it actually acts as a natural sunscreen for you. So that's why when people peel, I always tell them don't pick it off. And if you're peeling and you get sunburns, you heard me just saying in an answer to somebody else that it's equivalent to you having a low redox in that part of your body. People think that redox is like everywhere. It's not. You can have your head and neck can be shitty and your body can be good. We heard that from John. We just heard it from, someone else. If you got, cataract surgery and you put lenses in your eye, I guarantee your redox in your central retinal pathway sucks monkey balls. But people don't look at it like this because they think their whole body is the same, and it's not. every single part of your body has a different zip code, you know, and the loofah is okay in the shower if you want to get rid of your dead skin. This is more for the ladies. The ladies are the biggest pains in the asses about their vanity and shit like that, about wrinkles and dry skin. And I mean, usually I get a question from, what's her name? I'm blanking on her name. I can see her. The lady from Southern California is in Costa Rica. Shanti. This is one of Shanti's specials, you know. I think you can use a loofah. I don't think it's a big risk to use a loofah. I'm okay with it. I think doing it maybe 2-3 times a week is fine. Do I use a loofah frequently? No. Have I been known to use it at certain times? Yeah, like right now, my legs are peeling big time because I got roasted when I was at the equator and down in the Amazon. But am I loofering them? No, I'm not.
Okay, final question from Juan. Recommendations on making a DIY red incandescent bulb. I can't find one already made that is 220 volts.
I would tell you, I think this is a bad idea, but I remember Chantel and I talking about this when we were driving back from the farmer's market. She said, reach out to Michael Shapiro on Twitter because he's done one with Chroma. I didn't know that, but she knows about it. So his handle, I think, on Twitter is at Dirac Delta. And you spell Dirac DIRAC Delta DELTA. I don't know if there's a underscore or something in there, but if you find that's his handle, you can send him a DM and ask him directly. I just think it's a bad idea.
Okay, next we have from Kate. Number 1, general thoughts on peptides. Any use or danger?
I mean, this is exactly the same answer that I gave about methylene blue. I mean, you realize peptides are active. I mean, let's talk about this. Technically, if you really want to think about it, alpha MSH is a peptide. All the cleavage things made from POMC are peptides. You want to go in and fuck around with all that when all of these things are quantized? Like you think you know what the light controls are for this? Do you think injecting this stuff is somehow going to you're going to come up with the the jackpot on the machine in Vegas? If you do, you're not for me. That's the reason why I've been negative on peptides for over 5 years. And this came up directly from a question that I got from Ben Greenfield. And he's still using those peptides. Why? Because he makes money from them. So he talks about them, and then he gets all the people on his affiliate channels to get the money from that. You want to do it, I'm fine with it, but I'm going to tell everybody else in here, not a fan.
Any dosing ideas for febendazole or people to follow more info?
I think I answered that question about ivermectin. Look it up. The PDR is now linked to every search engine. What is the PDR? It's the Bible of drugs. It'll tell you what the milligrams per kilogram is. That means you need to get on a scale and measure what your kilograms are. I don't know what your guys' kilograms are. So how would I know the dose? I'm not your patient. I should say I'm not your doctor. So I wouldn't know. Only people I can answer that for are the people that I take care of directly.
Next is Mark. What makes an 8-sided Vogel crystal different from other cuts?
The optics. Fermat's law. You'll be hearing a little bit more about that. But I would strongly recommend, since I've already written about it extensively, use search engines, search the form. The answer is there.
Next is from Mark. I've been on sabbatical on Sydney and Queensland for a month, tanning every day for most of the day, although I tend to miss the first and last hour of the sun. My trunk has a golden brown tan and never burns, but my forehead and nose burn often, and the skin keeps peeling for weeks, exposing lighter new skin. I'm concerned about long-term discolorations. You mentioned about the auger effect. I read the blogs, but still don't get it. Could you elaborate how it links to peeling? There you go.
Not just answer this question literally 7 minutes ago.
Exactly.
I did. So if you're getting burnt and you're peel on your face, your trigeminal nerve has low redox. That's why it's happening. The rest of your body doesn't. So your head and neck is the problem. What's the auger effect? It's dead skin loaded with deuterium that acts like natural sunscreen. Don't fucking pick it off. Got it? So that's the issue. Your body is trying to tell you something. Your head and neck is a huge problem. Doesn't have the same redox power that the rest of your body has. I always tell people, if you get a sunburn in a part of your body, that part of your body has low redox.
And next is from Anthony. Hi, Dr. Jack. I'm a professional poker player living in the Las Vegas area, and I have an EMF problem. I know your main response is to move, but let's assume I'm constrained to staying in Nevada for a few more years. My questions are twofold.
Okay, Christy, make sure you read this really slow. And I want everybody to hear this, because the reason I let this question go, this is for the audience.
Okay. Number one, what are your guidelines for choosing a location to live with regards to EMF? What is the threshold amount of towers and antennas where you can say, I can work with this? My home has 122 towers and 373 antennas within a 3-mile radius, and also a nasty amount of RF from power gas lines running under my home, as well as solar panels. The various areas I'm looking to move have a maximum of 25 towers and 45 antennas and are all fairly low population density. They're all also the furthest towns from the various military bases and airports in the city. Are these 3 locations reasonable to start looking at? How would you weigh this with the other option of moving further north to say 40 in latitude, where I'll have less quality sun, but better water, magnetism, and lower population density? That's number 1.
I think everybody in the room knows the answer to this. Those numbers are fucking ridiculous. None of those chases are good. This is a person that needs to read Andrew Marino's book. It's as simple as that. This is the inverse square law to the max. You would be better off living on the North Pole with no EMF than this. Seriously. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, there's no good choices here. So if you're going to continue to take time for money, which I know you're going to because you're a gambler. What does a gambler do? They're all low dopamine. So you're asking me, this is effectively what you're asking me. Dr. Cruz, is it better to smoke Camel cigarettes or ones with filters? When the answer is, how about you don't fucking smoke? I can't be any more clear about that. So to be honest with you, when you pose this question, it's got no face validity. 0. The amount of EMF that this person is talking about is off the fucking chain. Not a little bit. We're talking a lot. Even 25 towers in a mile radius with low population density. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's crazy. I mean, I think that's where I would leave it. I just, I don't know what to say. I'm actually stunned somebody asked me this question, to be honest with you. But I'm glad they did, because I want everybody else to understand the mathematics that's going here. I said this to Tiffany earlier, that sometimes people don't realize the world that they're in, how blind they really are. I also said it to the lady from Canada. You know, and I gave her +5 by getting rid of the boyfriend. Now she needs to get rid of her country. But I was hard on her. You can only imagine if this person was on, what I'd say to them, because this is a worse situation than the lady from Canada and a worse situation than what Tiffany brings up. But I need people to understand that the inverse square law cannot be hacked. Do you understand that? It cannot be hacked. You cannot mito hack it. I promise you, millions of people out there are going to sell you shit that tell you the otherwise. Incentives dictate their outcomes. I'm telling you, you can't. So you stay and gamble. You do what you have to do. But just remember, all the time you're doing it, you're trading time for money. I mean, the real answer here, if you want to know the truth, take all the fucking money you got and put it in Bitcoin. That's a way better gamble where you get time back. That's what I would tell you to do. And I know that wasn't one of your choices, but it's the best answer I can give you.
Next is from Justine. I experienced female athlete triad syndrome from years of playing elite level basketball. Never got my menstrual cycle until 18. Had 1 or 2 periods and then they never returned. Throughout my 30s, my cycles were sporadic but never consistent. Do you think it's possible to reverse female athlete triad HPA axis dysfunction later in life, age 41, or is that kind of permanent damage?
Well, I think you can reverse it, but I mean, the reason I let this question through, because it's really better in a consult, but the reason I let it through is this is the classic case where I've always said on podcasts, over exercising is a toxin. This lady proves the point. Okay, this happened when she was a teenager, and look what she did. She ruined her hormonal function through her HPA axis. This is a real thing. It's called amenorrhea, and you can destroy the leptin along the central retinal pathways that control all this into your hypothalamus. This is actually how women get eating disorders, just so you know that. Same pathway. This is where anorexia, bulimia usually come from the same thing. But usually the number one thing that starts it all is some type of trauma, whether it's exercise, emotional, psychological. Remember what I told you the last Q&A. All inflammation is the same thing. It's stress response. You lose POMC, you lose melanin in those tracks. That's the issue here. Can it be reversed? Yeah. You moved in the right place and you did the right things. I think you can make it substantially better. Are there people that can't do that? Like the flip side of this story, we used to have several members with this. I haven't heard from them in a long time. I think they got frustrated and left. But it's guys that take the drug for hair loss, finasteride. That drug just destroys the same pathway that this lady's destroyed. But the problem is the same. Is there a point of no return for those people? Yeah, there is. Not everybody can get it back, but do I think you should attempt to try to get it back? I would.
Okay, next is from Ozen. 51-year-old living in Burbank, no COVID vaccine, have gluten intolerance and small amount of eczema, had 2 C-sections for childbirth. Question, in the recent months, I've had this metallic bitter taste in my mouth that comes and goes. Could it be from geoengineered skies or the titanium implant that I don't have a crown on yet?
Actually, the number one thing, most people don't know this, metallic taste in your mouth comes, number one thing I think of is a problem with zinc metabolism. And just so you know, who else got that? Most of you should remember when people got COVID, what was the first thing people complained of? They weren't able to smell and their taste changed. Zinc is the first thing. The second thing that I think of, could this be related to a shedding problem somewhere in Las Vegas? Or could this person be sleeping with somebody that is causing a spike protein problem in the orbital frontal gyrus? Yep. Third thing is I think that implant could be a real issue. Why? Because she likely has shitty redox. Why? Because she lives in Burbank, California. I mean, Christy, you can tell everybody what Burbank's like. That's where all the non-native EMF from television shows come from that emanates out of there. And if you know anything about broadcast theory, which this person probably doesn't know, she should probably Google it and look it up. These are the kind of things that it's like Chernobyl. It's not a good place to be.
Next is from Elaine. Is there any merit to the generalized practice of inducing women into labor at 42 weeks in order to mitigate risk of longer-term pregnancies?
This is a great question because it goes to our Natalie lady. When a baby stays in you too long, it's guaranteed that there's a transgenerational epigenetic problem with the baby, with the mama, and likely grandma. The blogs that I wrote about on LinkedIn link to this story. When you have to have an emergency C-section at 42 weeks, it actually is to save the baby's life because the baby gains the most weight in the last trimester of pregnancy. So if the baby stays in there too long, gets too big, it's not going to fit out your hoo-ha. Now, the doctor should be checking the hoo-ha out. If the hoo-ha is big enough, pelvic outlet's good, they can tell that by ultrasound. That what they're doing is they're matching up the baby's head size to the mother's hoo-ha size. And then they can tell whether the person needs to be induced or not. But this for sure is someone that's got a circadian mismatch at multiple levels. This would be, if Natalie did have a baby, this is one of the things I'd be very worried about with her. And this is the reason why late pregnancies, like we just had Max and Stacy here with Sam Parker and Chantel, and we had a discussion about hoo-has and babies. And I made the comment to them that the best match for humans is to have a male daddy that's 35 and a female probably 16 to 18. That is the perfect match to make a baby. Now, many of the women are like, oh, Jack, you can't say that. That's terrible. But it's the truth. That's actually what the data shows. Why? Because the father's got more transgenerational epigenetic experience to pass on to the immature egg. We know that the immature egg has low heteroplasmy, gives you the best child. And believe it or not, there's very, very strong data that shows the healthiest children come from that time of connection. Just so you know, all controlled by the leptin melanocortin pathway. All of this, including the decision to have the baby. I think most of you probably know, I wrote a blog in the last 6 months that talk about the decisions when the baby comes out, how it's made through biophotons. That is in one of the blogs, literally in the last 6 months. I'm assuming this question came from a relatively new member.
I'm not sure. I'd have to look them up. Okay, next is from Gian. Hi, Dr. Cruz. My body temperature ranges from 93.5 degrees to 97.2 degrees, and I struggle with my hands and feet being cold anytime and the ambient temperature is lower than 65. Is CT something I should still do given my low body temperature? If not, do you have any suggestions for increasing my average body temperature?
Yeah, I mean, this goes back to the older blogs, CT 4, 5, and 6. What does it tell you? TSH doesn't work in your midbrain. Your problem is in your hypothalamus. You have no POMC. Is doing CT the first answer? No, it's actually addressing your eyes, addressing the environment you're in. Again, this is somebody with shitty redox in their central retinal pathways. Anytime you read a blog, how many times have I put the picture out? All the hormones that turn into T3 and T4. What are they? Tyrosine and phenylalanine. You need UV light to do that. When you can't regulate your own body temperature, it means your thyroid gland is out to lunch.
Leave this fireplace on? Yeah. Are we gonna go uptown?
That, okay. Okay, next is from Jackson. Are there multiple pathways leading to neurological diseases like visual snow syndrome?
Hard stop. There's a reason I let this one in because I was so mad when I saw it. This person needs to go put visual snow in the search box of the form. I did it in front of Chantel. As soon as we got home, there was at least 6 hits. It's on the form. Read it. When you read it, then you come back and ask some questions.
Okay, next is from Eileen. I'm temporarily in mid-California. When I'm outside, why do I feel like I'm still under glass? The sun doesn't feel real, and I tan a different color, ugly brown instead of a reddish brown glow.
Chris, you want to answer that question for her?
Yeah, well.
Not negative EMF. In fact,
no.
I'm going to tell you something. It's really funny. I didn't realize this would happen. So this is from Nicole Shanahan's husband. Okay. He sent me this today. Why does the air and sun feel so much better in Florida than California? So guess what? I have somebody on my Q&A, then somebody on my phone saying the same thing. You know what that means? Everybody is feeling it. You know, when I told them the answer, see what it says there? It says less EMF. And then what is it? What does he say there? He says, I can feel it.
Mhm.
So this is a good sign that you can feel it because you know there's a difference. But you know what the bad sign is? Not doing something about it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, next is from Brian. Can you recommend a decentralized doctor in the state of Maryland that I can use in collaboration with you?
This is, I thought this was funny. The answer is no, but
He's a
why
new
would you-
member.
I know, but I'm saying, why would you think there's anybody decentralized in a place like Maryland?
Mhm.
I mean, think about Maryland for a minute. It's about as left wing as you can get on the East Coast. So no, I wouldn't think you're going to find anybody decentralized in Maryland, to be quite frank with you. I could be wrong, but I don't think I have any doctor members in Maryland. That also shouldn't surprise you. There's a deeper answer there. If you're reading between the lines, maybe Maryland is the problem.
Let me continue what he's saying. I've just discovered you through the Danny Jones podcast and registered as a new member, so I'm reading and researching a lot to build up my knowledge. I don't have health insurance and I don't trust centralized medicine. I had squamous cell carcinoma removed from my head in June of 2020 and basal cell from the chest in March of 2021. I lost my only child November 16th, 2023, after she was diagnosed in September of 2020 with Ewing sarcoma. She was 28 when she was diagnosed in September of 2020, started her first round of chemo the day after her 29th birthday, and died 5 days after her 31st birthday. I witnessed her agony as I took her over to 31 rounds of chemo, 60 plus rounds of radiation, 5 or 6 surgeries, and I'm still dealing with the effects of her loss. I want to help myself and be able to share with others, so I'm doing my best to stay positive. What recommendations can you suggest to get me started with a boot camp regimen? Thank you for all that you're doing.
I think the boot camp regimen for you is really probably starting with a consult, but I'm going to tell you, you have 2 skin cancers, you live at a high latitude, you have a transgenerational story. You can look up the transgenerational thread on the forum. The fact that your daughter died from a more malignant cancer than the cancers you got, these stories are linked. Remember, she's quantumly entangled to you. She has your engines in her. So this story, for the people that are long-term members here, it makes total sense why this happened. It also makes sense why you live in Maryland. It also makes sense why you're not going to get any answers now. Now, the flip side of the story, just because there's no one local in your area, doesn't mean you can't find a doctor that's decentralized on the web and talk to them. I think that's probably your best plan of attack. Since you're a new member, I don't expect you to know a lot of these terms that were thrown around and why these things are true, because you may not know that your mitochondrial DNA is only passed through the maternal side into children. And the fact that you got a skin cancer, you've heard in this Q&A already that I said it starts in the eye, the skin, the gut, and then everything else. Well, your case is in the skin. So that means the neuroectoderm part of the embryo is your problem. Interesting thing is, bones tend to come, portions of the bones will come from neuroectoderm. That's like the enamel of teeth and other bones in your body. Ewing sarcoma is one of the most deadly large cell tumors that are out there, strongly linked to early age, young people, takes them out, almost always related to a horrendous environment. I've been involved with several Ewing sarcoma patients, and I can tell you almost every single one, when they go to the oncologist, they never get told to look to the environment instead of their genetics. I believe that this is a mitochondrial disease. I've always believed that for the whole time I've been a doctor. But the problem is that's not what the oncologists believe. But your skin's cancer story is a big tell here. Where you live is a big tell. You need to string some of these lessons together. Get that you're young in this game. But what you need to do is really write down the history of probably your grandmother, I should say your mother, your child's grandmother, your story, And your story, it's pretty simple. Your vitamin D is going to be in the tank. Both of those cancers are associated with low vitamin D and no sun, not excess sun. They're associated with blue light and non-native EMF toxicity. Ewing sarcoma is absolutely related to blue light toxicity and non-native EMF. So what transgenerational epigenetics means is that once someone on the maternal side gets the problem, the next generation usually shows up faster and it's more deadly. That's exactly what's happened in your case. For the older members, this is exactly the flip side of what I told you in the Factor X webinar. The reason why people or mammals innovated very, very quickly. Why is this situation built into us? Our colony of mitochondria are designed to pay attention to environmental changes. Why? Because when something damaging happens, all the information to survive that event is passed to the next generation very quickly. Doesn't mean everybody's going to survive. That's why none of the dinosaurs survived the asteroid strike. But what happened? Evolution speeded up 65 million years ago so that we went from little mammals like mice all the way to us in a relatively short span of time. And that was the story that I laid out in the Huberman podcast with Rick Rubin. So you need to understand when you're dealing with this type of problem, all the cancers you have, the cancer your daughter has is associated with low vitamin D level. If you think the sun's a problem, your vitamin D level should be through the roof, right? But both of your cancers are tied to it low. Maryland doesn't have good sun either. Plus, it's got a shit ton of non-native EMF. Why? It's around some of the worst states in the world, specifically the Pentagon, Baltimore, all the Marine radar. It's just not a good place to be at all. DC, you name it. It's horrible. So once you string all these lessons together and you realize, oh shit, the defect really isn't in me. The defect's in the environment that we've allowed. And the fact is, if I stay there too long, my skin cancer more than likely is going to turn into a cancer in the gut. Why? Because what did I tell you? It goes eye, skin, gut, perineum, bone. So what's the most likely scenario for this person with skin cancer? Just on a betting, like if we were in Vegas, like our gambler guy, colon cancer, liver cancer, those would be high up on my list. Lesser on the list, pancreatic, but it's definitely there. Stomach cancer. Would I also throw some autoimmune conditions there, like Crohn's disease, IBS, and even some of the other skin diseases? Is that realistic? Yes. Every single autoimmune condition, yes, I'd be worried about with you. I think it's a really big issue, and probably the worst cancers that I would worry about mama here because of the Ewings would be gliomas in the brain, GBMs. Why? Because the brain and the skin come from the same level of the embryo, which is called neuroectoderm. So I know I just threw a lot of science at you, but you'll be able to go back and listen to this on repeat and go back and forth. And I told you to search a lot of things on the form through the search box, and you can put all these things in a Google box or a Yandex box with my name in it. And I promise you, you're going to get a shit ton of information. Then when you start getting a shit ton of information, you start writing a journal. I check it. You keep asking questions. I keep throwing more stuff at you. And eventually what'll happen, you may decide, okay, I'm going to start asking very pointed questions on the Q&A. If you still don't get enough of Jack Cruz's time, then you spend the money to talk to me one-on-one. But you should do the simple free stuff before you waste your money talking to me. But your story totally fits.
Okay, next is from Albert. At the end of the Cruise for Dummies course, you mentioned the 7 levels that describes your model for what is life. Please correct me if that wasn't an appropriate characterization. I'm still trying to visualize these 7 levels after reading the references included in the course. Could you suggest additional blogs, other resources to help supplement my understanding?
Same thing I just told the last lady. Teach each 7 level out of the course, put it in a Google box with my name and go. That's the best way to do it. But all of those levels are in just about every blog.
Mhm. Okay, next is you. Is calcium channel blocker protective against NMEMF? If so, which category dihydrofuridines versus non?
I don't know what they're asking, but yes, calcium channel blockers can help, but are they a panacea? No. What did I say earlier in this Q&A? You cannot hack the inverse square law. Just remember, sunlight is the #1 calcium channel blocker. That's in multiple blogs. It's also on the forum in the vitamin D thread.
Next is Angie. She's got 5 questions here. Number 1, do you have any suggestions for how to stay healthy when flying and traveling across different time zones?
Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Cruz's name, jet lag prescription.
I'm gonna pop that in the.
Yep, and it's jet lag RX.
It's
Just
on
so
the.
you know, Ben Greenfield's the one that asked me to write that blog like 15 years ago.
Yep.
I remember because I wrote it when I was in Destin. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, I'll pop that in just a second. Okay. Hold on, give me this second. Let me find that really quick. Jet lag RX right here. Copy link. And it's in the chat. See, I just went to the search. Look how quickly I pulled that up. Okay.
Well, I'm glad. Look, the reason why I let these questions through, because I know they're new people, but I just don't know what it is about people not wanting to search the forums or just a Google search box, put my name in it, and you want to know what I think? Boom, it's there.
There, yeah.
I even say it on podcasts. I'm like, you want to know about your disease, your issues, your question? Put my name and your problem in a box and see what happens.
Okay, let's see. Here we go. Number 2, is sound healing legitimate? Can you provide
Yes.
any? Yes.
Yes.
Number 3, are there benefits from vagus nerve toning?
Yes. Read my blog, How to Be a Water Muse. So write that down. How to Be a Water Muse, Jack Cruz. You'll get rewarded.
Is it important to wean off melatonin?
Absolutely.
Is it better to quit them cold turkey or little by little?
Ask the doctor that put you on it.
Number 4, I unfortunately live in Southern California for the time being, though I plan to move in the future. Do you have any suggestions about how to stay healthy while living in Fullerton?
Yeah, I would say listen to this Q&A on repeat, and I think you'll get your answer loud and clear. Or better yet, ask Christy. Christy, how do you feel about California?
I just sold my house. I'm looking to move out, so.
There you go. And
There you
guess what?
go.
Christy didn't listen to me for what, 10 or 12 years?
A long time, yeah. And I had my excuses,
Oh,
but
good ones too.
good ones. I have parents and all of that, but you know, you got to think of you first. Okay, Randy,
Hold on, can you say that again?
you have to think of you first.
So if you're not good enough for yourself, who
You're
are
not
you
good enough for anybody else.
Oh, oh, I like that.
See, I'm learning. I listen to you. Okay, from Randy. Number 1, there's a large wealth of information in the previous member meetings, but utilizing it requires a lot of time and note-taking. I was curious if you have any concerns with me using technology to transcribe previous meetings and then analyze them automatically by topic for search. The resulting output would be for my use and not public consumption, but since the content is for member only, I wanted to confirm you're okay with me using biotech software to transcribe, analyze, and search for it.
So this is very similar to a problem that just cropped up between last month's Q&A and this month's Q&A. Some rocket scientist who we think it was the wife of a member thought it was a good idea to put my Q&A on Twitter. And it fucking pissed me off like you can't imagine, because I'm pretty clear. Do not put the Q&A stuff on public domains. Why? There's a reason this stuff is behind the screen, because I don't need the problem that Mary Talley Bowden is dealing with right now. And for those of you who don't know what's going on, she's in a huge battle with the Texas Medical Board, and she's already $300,000 in debt from her legal bills. Okay? So if you want to do this, Randy, that's great. Don't fucking put it in a public domain. if you want, would I be willing to probably put this on a private part of the form that we can have Christy set up, that we do password protected for our members? I'd be okay with that. But if I find that you've done this and you start using it and it goes out in the public domain, you're not going to be a happy cat.
Now, we have it posted everywhere when you become a member that you do not share any of this member information outside of the paid membership walls. So we take it pretty
It's not,
seriously,
just
and
so
it makes
everybody's
it
clear.
back to us.
Yeah, just so everybody's clear. It's not because I don't want the stuff out. I want a lot of our stuff out. I really do. But it cannot be directly from me, because that is the stuff the medical boards will use to fucking shut this down. And I'm just telling you, I'm much more wiser than most of the other doctors out there. That's why I'm not paying $300,000 to the Texas Medical Board.
Yep. Okay, with that was our last question for today's Q&A. We appreciate everybody's time. Like always, the recording will be on the dashboard in 24 hours. Thank you very much for your time. We will see you in March.
One last thing.
One more
All the
thing.
people that didn't get their questions answered, because I told you they're consults, if you want, put some of your information on the form in a optimal journal. That way, when I read it, I can give you 2 cents, 2 cents, 2 cents. And then what may happen, you may have new questions. You'll find out those questions probably are more personalized to you. And then you'll know that's when you need to do the consult. Because I really don't want you guys doing consults if you don't need to do it. But when I don't know your context or your topic is so broad, it's a consult. Or the other issue, like I said before, if you have 19 questions about, your problem, do a consult.
Mhm.
Because you have to remember, there's a lot of other people on this call. We had over 105 people on this call, and they are complaining to me like vehemently. They don't want the Q&As to take, 5, 6, 7 hours. And I never really saw it from that point of view until this month. So this month we shrunk it down. We're going to do that for probably the next couple months and see how it goes. If I think it sucks, then I may go back to the way it was before, but we'll see how it goes. Because right now we have a lot of new members, and I think the new members have to get boosted and jump started to know how, to start the thing. And I want them to realize it's not that I don't want to help you, but I want to help you in the most efficient fashion. So if you put that information on the form, then I can direct you, go read this, go read that blog, go do this, or search this or search that. And then we'll go from there. We're just trying to make it a little bit more efficient because we know time is of the essence.
Yep. Perfect.
All right. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jack.